Fade in.
I need a username. And I have a great one. Little Kid Lover. That way people will know exactly where my priorities are at.
By the way, he gave me permission to touch him.
I don't like them putting chemicals in the water that turn the friggin' frogs gay.
How dare you?
Put a chick in it, make her gay.
I love nothing more than to be dragged out at every fucking conceivable opportunity so you can fucking current day us.
This is the first time that we see a woman, and the first time that we see a black woman in this area and this world.
But Mrs. Kennedy, Bambi's a baby deer.
Baby deer, put a chick in it, make her gay.
And the kids used to come up and reach in the pool and rub my leg down so it was straight and then watch the hair come back up again. I learned about roaches. I learned about kids jumping on my lap.
No, God!
The power of one! And if you have a problem with that, come fight me. Physically. Bitch.
Has anyone taken
Power of two.
If you don't like it, don't watch it. Peace.
The power of many.
It counts as a disability where a video game like Elden Ring is concerned if you have a kid. You have a 2-year-old, you're trying to play Elden Ring, you can't pause. That is a situational disability that you have.
You think that I'm retarded?
Sexism in gaming. No! God, please, no! 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 No!
No trial, no nothing.
The games industry is diverse naturally. Not because anyone's making them be diverse. Because the world is diverse, you stupid mother.
Pronouns! F***ing gender ambiguity! You serious?
Journalists, we have a special jail for journalists.
Serious crap!
Do not come. Do not come.
I'm gonna come. You keep doing that, no one up here is gonna call you Donald Trump anymore. We're gonna call you Donald Duck.
Weird. Weird.
Oh my God! Okay, it's happening. Everybody stay calm. What's the procedure, everyone?
What's the procedure?
Stay calm!
Oh, you know it, lad. You know that Hassan Piker? I'm coming to kill you in Los Angeles at your house. Or in the ring? No, in real life.
All right, hey guys, I appreciate you all being here. I am so sorry that this last week has been so disjointed. I was supposed to do a live stream on Saturday to make up for not having one on Friday, and then Saturday got away from me. I ended up with like this massive gastrointestinal distress that I was under. I'm not going to go into details because it was pretty awful. And then, of course, I was like, okay, fine, we'll do the stream on Sunday instead. And Sunday was such a long day after I got home from my kids' baseball games and shit. I was like, all right, I'm done. I can't. Sucks, too, because I was supposed to check out that U-boat game that they sent me a key for, and I kind of messed that up. So now I'm probably in the doghouse with Keymailer for that. So, yeah, unfortunately, last week was just kind of a disaster. So I am hopefully back on track now. Hopefully we're going to get things right back where they're supposed to be. I might even get an extra stream in this week. I haven't decided yet, but we will try to see as things go. Hey, Aura, good to see you here. Of course, Mari, thank you for dropping in. The headphones make it look like I've grown a Kratos-sized beard. Well, you know, to be fair, during the wintertime, I'll let my beard go pretty far. So instead of like being the normal trimmed beard, it'll be like fairly bushy. It just depends. Definitely a shill. Oh, you're talking about Alana Pierce? I think that's Alana Pierce, right? Austin, good to see you. I should just go by Mel from now on. Rather than like my username Tebow that I've gone by for so many years, I could just go by Mel. Acronym for Minimal Effort Live. That's actually not a bad one. All right, we're going to jump right in 1 second, guys. I think I've got everything brought up that we're going to talk about tonight. I just have to make sure that I have got... hang on a second here. Ooh, volume's way too loud. Let me drop that down a bit. You know, it's so hard because I can't hear myself next to the microphone, like comparing it with the background music, so I have no idea if background music's too loud or not. That being said, there's a new giveaway going on Instant Gaming this month. The last one just ended a few hours back, I guess. So somebody else has already won a key for their game of choice. So the link for the Instant Gaming giveaway for October is down below. Go check them out. Lots of cool pre-orders and stuff on there. Hey, Truth, what's good? Expectations for Silent Hill 2 Remake. Honestly, I don't have any. Okay, so guys, you got to remember, I'm going to give you a little bit of background story, okay, in case you're not aware. I was not a PlayStation player. You got to remember this. I grew up a Nintendo fanboy who crossed over as an Xbox fanboy who eventually 5 years ago built his own PC and was like, you know what, screw the whole console war thing, play whatever you want. But I never had a PlayStation. So anything that I didn't have on console and anything I haven't bought in the last 5 years for PC, if it was a PlayStation exclusive at one point, I probably haven't played it. Just gonna be honest. So from what I've seen, I don't love the direction they're going with certain, again, changes to the characters, but I have no other expectations like about gameplay. I just don't know. I have no experience with Silent Hill. Yeah, or I'm kind of inclined to feel the same way. I feel like they're just going to go the same direction. We've seen so many remakes and remasters where they just don't care to be true to the original game and just... I mean, look, remasters seem like such a great idea, right? The idea behind... I'm going to kill the music. This is distracting me. Hang on, guys. Let me see if I can do it from here. There we go. Remasters seem like such a great idea. On paper, in theory. But the unfortunate reality is that so many times... when you find a lot of the games that they've remastered, they simply don't just like fix up the graphics, fix up a lot of the issues, clean it up and give you a playable game exactly the way it was before, but just like polishing things, you know, making them more modern, if you will. I hate using the word modern. So anytime that there's a remaster, I'm very hesitant to even consider playing it at this point. Actual Japanese woman, yes, pretty crazy, right? They've never been woke since 3 years ago in Japan. Are you saying that games stopped being woke, Mari? Or are you saying that they have been woke since 3 years ago, like they've started becoming woke? Because we've seen some stuff going on with like, freaking, what is it? Not Square Enix. Well, Square Enix for one, but a lot of like the translations, the localization from Japanese to English. So like, look, you have Nintendo Japan and then you have Nintendo America. And Nintendo America, which is actually based here in my state that I'm in, which doesn't surprise me, super woke, super left-leaning, super into all the gender ideology and everything else, you know? Yeah, Mass Effect, that was one. They went from, they got rid of the ass in Mass Effect. Ghost of Yotei, you know, truth, I thought I pretty much summed it up in my video, but I'll give you like the 30-second version. I believe Ghost of Yotei could be a very good game if you enjoyed Ghost of Tsushima, based on what we've seen, just a little bit we've seen so far. But the problem I have with it is that we've seen so many times that voice actors and people who are part of a production of a game, whether it's not even like the developers, it could be anybody, like, again, the consulting companies, the companies that hire the voice talent, they have a massive effect on how the characters are created. Because if you look at Erika Ishii's portfolio of characters she's played, half of them are LGBT, okay? There's a reason for that. There's this movement among voice acting, the hiring of voice acting, where they want to be authentic, right? They use that term authentic representation. So you have a character, an actress who is playing characters that she identifies with in real life. Well, that's of course at some point probably going to spill over into Ghosts of Yotei. And as I had never played Ghost of Tsushima, it turns out there was already some elements of strong, independent LGBT women in Ghost of Tsushima. So the seeds were already planted, if you catch my drift. I don't know. With Ghost of Yotei, I'm just going to be like, it's going to be a wait and watch kind of thing, but I don't have a whole lot of hope for it at this point. Yeah, the Americans attacking the new Zelda game is dumb. I think that's silly. Japanese voice actors over Western. Dude, I tried watching, my wife and I were watching the Godzilla -1, and she has a hard time because we watch movies late at night after we're done, both of us working. And so she'll fall asleep if she has to read subtitles. So we've been watching Shogun, and when she falls asleep, I fill her in on what she missed in the previous episode. But like when we watched Godzilla -1, she wanted to stay awake for it. She's like, I want to watch the movie. So we watched it with the English dub, and it was so bad. Like, I want to go back and watch it in Japanese because the English acting was so terrible. Yeah, the Pokemon Go situation, that was pretty brutal. Never trust a remaster of Dragon Age Legendary Edition. Well, okay, so based on what we've seen from Dragon Age now, if we did that, yeah, there's no hope for a remaster of any of those games. At least, no hope for them being authentic to the original games. Just no way. Loud activists with their opinions on Twitter, but the game itself will have minimal of it. NS, I hope that that's the case, but honestly, we will just have to wait and see. Because like I said, when we've seen situations, the company that I discovered, I hate to be like, oh yeah, I broke, headline news or whatever, but back when I was writing for Fandom Pulse, I had done some research on J.P. Carlyke, the voice actor who did the voice of Morph, the non-binary gay character in X-Men 97, as well as the voice of Joker in Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. And I discovered that he was the founder of that Queer Vox voice acting company, where they're essentially like a Sweet Baby Ink for voice actors. They connect, again, that authentic LGBT talent with roles in the voice acting industry. And their job is to put gay, trans, non-binary people in those roles. But again, it's not just in those roles. People that get the roles that when they come from companies like this, they take those roles and make them representative of themselves. And that's what I'm worried about with Yote. That's the thing that actually has me worried. Yeah, I know the thing about subtitles is that they can be easily twisted. A lot of the dubbing, a lot of the localization is a mess. Let's jump into kind of the breaking news, the breaking story today. I mean, this is kind of, oh God, that's a lot of pop-ups. I'm sorry, guys. I can never figure out how to get like all of my notifications to not pop up all at the same time. Hey, Ryan, how's it going, buddy? I'm well enough. I'm alive. I'm no longer sick. I can breathe for the most part. I'm happy. Dragon Quest creators were pissed. Yeah, I was gonna cover that, but the last 2 days I didn't have time for videos much. Didn't have time for the 2 live streams I had planned. Didn't have the energy for it. But it looked pretty fascinating. I was actually thinking about bringing that up here tonight to talk about. PC gamer back in the 90s. Best games: Half-Life, Deus Ex, Fear, Crysis, and Legacy. See, Legacy of Kain, the ones that I played on the consoles that I had, because they had Legacy of Kain, the Soul Reaver games on Xbox. I played a Legacy of Kain game, I want to say on my GameCube even. They had that across a lot of different platforms. So we have this story, and this is again from Endymion, because he has an insider at Ubisoft. Excuse me, man. Whew. Had nachos for dinner, and they are talking back to me now.
Sir. You're a gentleman and a scholar.
Oh, man, that was loud. Sorry, guys. Zealot Kim, appreciate you for subscribing. Let's see. It's clear beginning of invasion and freedom of speech. Those activists love blocking people. Yeah, I mean, and again, Mari, the thing is, what I view as traditional conservatism, which is where I probably fall more in line with, although I do have beliefs that maybe cross over into like libertarian thinking or whatnot. People who aren't even conservative are getting lumped into like alt-right, far-right conservatives simply for speaking out about a lot of this crap, It's crazy. One of the games you play as a character to be non-binary because they have a homosexual crossdresser man. Yeah, again, they're using terms for things that have always existed, but that they are basically appropriating the terminology on. Like when I was a kid, without saying anything that could get me banned, I think this is fine to talk about. Crossdressers, they called them transvestites at the time, especially if it was like a kink or whatever. They were not, it was like drag queens. They were never considered non-binary. They were never considered transgender. Drag queens, again, I don't understand the obsession. Back when I was younger, the understanding was that even some of them were just straight men who enjoyed dressing up like women. I'm sure there's always been a high percentage of them that are LGBT, but it just wasn't the way that things are being interpreted nowadays is just absolutely insane. Yeah, Lolbar, I'm not a big fan of libertarians. Like I said, I have some ideas that might cross more into libertarian thinking, but in general, I am not a fan of the libertarian platform at all. Like, not even going to go down that road. All right, so we have apparently Yasuke was inspired by George Floyd and the BLM protests. Fascinating stuff. I mean, honestly, this shouldn't be a shock for most of us. We've all been around a while now at this point. But let me make sure that this article actually has the information from Endymion. I might have the wrong article brought up here. Let me see. Here we go. Yeah, so y'all know that Assassin's Creed Shadows has been postponed. It's been postponed, it's been delayed. They're trying to figure out how to quote unquote polish the game. They're saying it's a complete game despite the fact that, you know, given the state that Star Wars Outlaws launched to, the assumption is that this game is probably far from complete. And to be honest, the way that these companies work, they waste so much money hiring people who don't have the talent or skill required to make these games ready to ship on day one. And then, of course, there's the Cyberpunk situation where they don't have the time or the manpower to get it done in the first place. The game goes out, and it's a complete mess. And we've seen this time and time again. So now the article here says, a new rumor from YouTuber endymion, who alleges to have spoken with a number of individuals at Ubisoft who have worked with the company in the past, claims that the game could be delayed even further, and that the game originally featured a male Japanese protagonist instead of Yasuke. Now, the thing about this rumor that makes me believe it is entirely possible is, I'm sure some of you remember that there was a story about how that South of Midnight game from, again, a company that worked with Sweet Baby Inc. to make that game, had apparently race swapped the character from white to black, given the fact that it was like in Louisiana or whatever, and they figured, hey, we need to have authentic representation again, that terminology that they use. Same thing with Flintlock. Again, there was a story about how Flintlock, the other SBI, like, you know, flop, was originally supposed to be a white female protagonist, and it ended up getting race swapped again. So it is very, very possible that this is 100% legitimate, that they were planning on doing a male-female Japanese duo, much like, you know, Odyssey, where you have the two Greek characters, male and female, or of course Valhalla, where you can play the same character, but again, gender bent either direction. And then they decided at the last minute, no, we need to have a black samurai for reasons. You're a libertarian and you wouldn't vote for a libertarian candidate because they all suck. See, again, I feel you there. I feel you there, Tyler. I like a lot of the ideas. I just don't, I don't know. I just wouldn't go for it. Wasn't Dragon Quest's sex work? Oh, or Drag Queen's a sex work thing. I don't know, to be honest, Aura. I've never looked that much into drag queens because personally, it's not something I'm into. Again, I don't understand the thing, because again, I was born in the 80s, I grew up in the 90s, and again, part of the early 2000s until I was an adult. And I never understood the obsession women had with having the gay best friend. And I think it feeds into the same energy where women enjoy going to drag shows. I don't get it. I don't find it interesting. I think it's annoying. I think it's stupid, but to each their own. No, Richie, I left it alone. It's still minimal effort live. I switched it from gaming back to live. I'm leaving it alone. I can't even think about which one, you know, to go with. Yeah, again, the stories seem to point more to the idea that Yasuke didn't do any combat. I mean, okay, so the man, as far as they know, was only in Japan for like 15 months. It takes a lifetime of being part of the culture to become a samurai, or at least years of dedicated service, like in the case of the guy, I can't remember his name, the one that the character from Shogun is based on, the pilot, the ship pilot who ended up being basically stranded in Japan for a few years. It takes a long time to get integrated into a culture. So if you're going to just drop in and be like, yo, I've been here for 15 months, I'm a samurai already, I've got all this cool stuff, I'm sorry, without any actual historical references that can definitively prove that, of course it's just a made up bunch of BS, you know? It doesn't make sense any other way. Let me see, that Park Place and Bounty in Comics, they're the only remaining good journalists. Yeah, there's a few. So Fandom Pulse has now moved to a Substack, and they do pretty good work. That's John Del Rose over there. But the thing about Fandom Pulse is John has made it very clear he wants to cover mostly like culture war, but comics and entertainment, not so much just like generic, you know, oh, this console releases on this day, and he doesn't want to do like, you know, the boring crap, which I can understand. You have family who went to drag bingo? Yeah, Richie, I just don't get it. I will never understand it. You would honestly hang out with hot girls pretending to be gay? I mean, I don't know. Personally, I don't get into any of the gender bending stuff. I don't understand the entire purpose of drag shows. I don't get it. It's like, okay, you have the character of women in society where there's already those women that are called like Karens or whatever, or those women that are like over the top, the Valley girls who get really annoying. And you have all these characters, and then instead you have a man dress in drag, put on way too much makeup, It's still pretty obvious that it's a dude, but they have like a feminine appearance now. And then they're just going to walk around parodying that for like an hour and a half. I don't understand it. I don't get it. Where's the humor in that? Where is it supposed to be funny? Physical training starts from 3 years old. Mental training from before birth, stinging to the mother's stomach. Yeah, you see, this is just like an outsider's way of looking at it, you know? It's like, oh, yeah, you could totally become a samurai in that short of time. Why not? Oh, man. If girls think you're gay, you're just friends. Hell yeah. Hey, Kira, how's it going? Actual samurais in the chat. Exactly, Richie. Well, yeah, I would say Mari is probably closer to a samurai than Yasuke ever was. So. Oh, yeah, dude, NS, it is entirely a need to feel feminine. That's why, and again, you gotta be careful what you say on YouTube. Like, I can't go after people and say shit that will get me banned, obviously. I don't want to do that anyways. That's not the point of this entire stream. But the delusion, the level of delusion some people have where they put on a dress and some makeup and they take a picture and say how feminine they feel, and you look and you go, this is a joke, right? This has got to be like a meme or something. Like, you're in on the joke. Tell me you are. Because there's no way that they honestly believe that they could pass for a woman. But, you know, it's like, hey, some people are better at lying to themselves than others. Whatever. All right, so Endymion shared, my source told me, however, that they heard that in February 2025 is simply a placeholder release date as of now. Apparently, this is because Ubisoft is scrambling and they need certain key talent in order to assist on a Q2 game release, which John Trent in his video today mentioned that the quarters are different than the rest of the calendar year. I guess Ubisoft's quarters are like spring through August or something like that. They're all kind of different than the rest of the calendar year for most companies. Which, if you don't know what that means, there's 4 quarters to a calendar year. Yeah, exactly. So because talent at the studio is working to make the future release come out more smoothly, Shadows is not being given the extra hands it kind of needs right now. So like I said, the release date may actually be pushed back even further. Dude, okay, so I was saying in my video on this, if they push the game to February, which is where it's slated right now, they have to go up against Monster Hunter Wilds. They got to go up against Yakuza. They got to go up against Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, which is going to do well. With all of this culture war crap, with all of the pushback against Sweet Baby Inc., with all the... Dude, just wait. Some of my best videos, I can guarantee you right now, some of my best performing videos next year are going to be about Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, because the media is going to attack that game in preparation for Assassin's Creed Shadow coming out, because the developer of Kingdom Come Deliverance, again, they already have him on record from years ago in articles saying he's a pro Gamergate developer, right? They already have their sights set on him. So there are so many games coming out that month that people are going to buy instead of this game just to make a point, that if this game releases in February, it's toast. There's no way. There's absolutely no freaking way it's going to do well. Sounds like Diddy made a few dudes feel like a woman. Dude, there's going to be so much leverage out of like Diddy jokes for the next 3 years. I swear to God. Mongolian invasion survivors' descendants. That's crazy. See, the furthest back that I can trace my heritage, my mom's dad is full-blood, well, was. He was born in 1900, so he was actually 57 when my mom was born. He was a very, very fertile, dark-haired Italian man. He had dark hair till the day he died. And I was born when he was 86 years old. And so my grandfather was from Sicily. He was born January 1st, 1900, came through Ellis Island in 1904. And yeah, so that's the furthest back that I can trace my family is on my mom's side. My grandfather's side, it goes back to like my great-grandparents. Or sorry, yeah, my great-grandparents. I don't know who my great-great-grandparents were. But on my mom's side, it's just like my grandfather was the one that came here from Sicily. And that's like the only cool story I've got, you know? Oh yeah, Tyler, I am like super, super, super ready for Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. I've got to finish the first game. Got to get good at the first game. But unfortunately, it's going to take time. You want to see me proven right? It's going to happen, dude. It is so going to happen. It's not even funny. Captain America 4 and Assassin's Creed Shadows. Wait, is Captain America Brave New World coming out on the same day? Why would they release freaking Captain America on Valentine's Day? What the hell? Dude, that movie's going to suck. That's one that, if you believe the rumors, has been like reshot like 5 different times. But again, I had no problem. Here's my thing. This is where, okay, you want to talk about a prime example of how they get into the idea that we're all bigots and racists? I have no problem with the character. What's his name? The character of Falcon. It's not Sam Wilson, is it? No, that's a different character. I'm not the best with the superheroes' alter egos, or their actual names. I had no problem in the TV show with the idea that Falcon would become the next Captain America. However, I have a problem with the idea of Captain America not being a super soldier. But because of that, they're going to call me a bigot because it means that I'd rather them give Bucky the shield than Falcon. So again, this is how they twist words. They say, well, you'd rather he gives it to the white guy than the black guy. No, I'd rather Captain America was an actual super soldier like he's supposed to be. So again, this is how words get twisted. But yeah, dude, coming out the same month. Wait a second. So Captain America 4 is also during Black History Month. Holy crap. This is insane. The level of virtue signaling is out of control with these people. That is insane. It says, Endymion then revealed his source told him the game originally featured a Japanese male protagonist. He says, I was told when they originally saw the game, there was indeed a male Japanese protagonist with their own finalized art and even animations. I want these to come out. So the only thing that makes me hesitant to believe this, and it's not about Endymion, I don't think it's him that I'm worried about, it's these sources, is if they could have released something, some sort of like storyboard, some sort of animation with this statement, you know, like sneak it out on a flash drive or something. They don't know if this character will be reintroduced to replace Yasuke. That won't happen. But they are skeptical that Ubisoft will actually remove Yasuke altogether due to the whole political, backlash they'll get from journalists and so on. Yeah, they will not. Especially not if they keep the February release date. They will not remove Yasuke at this point. They would be absolutely insane too. The backlash would be unreal. But Bucky's supposed to be... Bucky won't be. Hey, Oblivion, no worries. Dude, you have great-grandparents who were close in ranks to Stalin. Well, okay, I'm not saying that that's something to be proud of, but that is at least something to... I don't know, it's history, It's something historical. Like, okay, let's say you were related to the baddest of the bad from World War II, okay. I wouldn't feel like I did anything wrong because you're not the one living that life. You're not the one making those choices. And it's something cool. It's something historical. I wouldn't go around bragging about it. That's for damn sure. Bucky needed the redemption arc. I wanted Bucky to get the shield just because it made the most sense. I thought that would just make the absolute most sense. He's a super soldier. He had redeemed himself. He was a more interesting character. Falcon was good as a supporting character. But let's be honest, that entire show was crap. I tried watching that show, and it was the most boring thing I've ever seen in my life. Did Gamergate 1 start in February? I wasn't here for it. I don't know. I was too busy working 6 days a week, raising my babies and toddlers and shit, and just vegging out to Shadows of Mordor or something on my Xbox or For Honor or whatever. Back when Ubisoft could still make good games. So I'm not sure when the first one kicked off. Dude, did you see? Yeah, that was Kangmin Lee, I think. And I'm pretty sure he's Korean. But yeah, he put that on there. It's like history then, history now. And they've got the black samurai kicking a Japanese man. And then they have like a real modern time black guy like mugging a Japanese man in San Francisco. It's so messed up. But yeah, it's pretty weird, pretty on the nose to have like the hip hop music and him just mobbing through like goring and beheading these people. It's just beyond me. I can't even believe it. Like, who thought this is a good idea? Let's see. So next, he shared details about the game. They did say that the game's first act is heavily story-driven until it eventually opens up to your more traditional open-world Ubisoft experience, and that the big hurdle there, if they were to remove Yasuke, would be to practically change almost everything about Act 1, so to speak, if they were to remove the character entirely, which would be absolutely mind-boggling. There's no way, no chance that they're going to do that. So could they remove Yasuke with this already done but thrown aside Japanese character? It's a big maybe. But they said they weren't sure of it yet. They also told me they heard rumblings that Sweet Baby Inc. may have had a hand in Shadows, but they can't confirm that 100% yet. So take that allegation with a huge, big, fat shot of skepticism right now, okay? So again, the connections are there. Kim Belair, she started at Ubisoft before she, went off and created Sweet Baby Inc. They're both based in Montreal. There's a lot of connection between the companies. They're listed as a client on Sweet Baby Inc.'s website. So the connections are there, Yeah, Bucky should have gotten the shield, I'm telling you, 100%. Have the Vikings in Somalia causing havoc. Oh my god. White Somalians, that'd be something. That would be something. 5 months would not be enough time to do that many changes. You're right, Richie. There's no way. There's absolutely no way in 5 months that they could do that. It'd be about as unlikely as becoming a samurai in 15 months. Am I right? Exactly, Aztec. That's what we're talking about. Is the idea that they had started off with the Japanese samurai. A little more historically accurate, if you will. As for when this Japanese male protagonist was sidelined, Endymion revealed that the game did first include a male Japanese character, but they were swapped sometime during 2020, according to my source, for Yasuke instead. When asked why Ubisoft chose Yasuke over this male character, he revealed, they said that Ubisoft was heavily influenced by the socio-political events of the time with stuff like, and no, I'm not kidding, George Floyd dying, the riots, and Black Lives Matter exploding in support. So, the thing you also have to remember, these games, AAA games, and I know it's not just AAA games, indie games take a long time too, especially if you have less funding and less people working on it. But these AAA games spend years. Think about it. Concord was 8 years of development to make that game that they pulled after 2 weeks. So this game probably started a year or two. Excuse me, I got the burps tonight, guys. I apologize. They probably started developing this game 2 years before 2020. I don't know. They've probably been planning it for damn near a decade. At least they probably had it in a timeline that they had behind the scenes. So the reality is, if they started this in 2020, or at least were inspired in 2020 before they really had things set in stone, where they could start moving pieces around and swapping characters out, it makes total sense that they've spent the last 3 years thinking that this was a great idea. And then as support for movements like BLM kind of eroded, it's too late. They've already committed to it. It's like if they decided to make, again, well, they have the pansexual characters, right? So they have all of these options there that they decided to force into the game. And now that things are swinging the other way, it's too late. They can't fix it. There's no way at this point that they can kind of right the ship. It's just the way it is. What's in the news today will be the plot of games in 2028 to 2029. Yeah, maybe. Actually, Miles and Callum from Lotus Eaters, I think they went to Rhodesia together. Callum's funny because I have a meme of him that I constantly spam at him, and the bastard will not like it or repost it. Lotus Eaters has reposted my meme of Callum, but he won't. He ignores it. He reminds me so much of one of my brothers. That's why I have to harass the dude. I'm like, I just can't unsee it, Just like Dustborn inspired by the Trump era. Exactly. 100%. Oh, Kira, they're already making jokes about that on SNL and all that other crap. I will try to keep the burps to a minimum, Mari. I don't know why the hell it just keeps happening to me, but it is what it is. Yasuke is great. Hey, you're allowed to like Yasuke all you want. And honestly, I know that there's a lot of anime and stuff people have done. And the thing is, I don't care that the character exists. I care that they decided to make him the main character of Nobody said it was history. Nobody's tried to pass Tom Cruise's character off as real life. It was a movie. That was it. No history at all. Closest thing that happening to any president was Black Ops 2. Oh yeah, I remember something about that. Very strange. They just didn't fit him in the right game. Right. I mean, that's another thing too. Did we lose him? I don't know, Blithian. Hey, you're welcome to like what you like. I like a lot of shitty movies. I like a lot of shitty video games and stuff, I'm sure too. But again, when you have all these statements from Ubisoft coming out saying this is based on history and you can learn about this time period in Japan, it's but no, you can't. Think about it. Why is Shogun, that show, I'm on episode 6 or 7 out of it. Why is that so good? Aside from the fact that the production quality alone is fantastic and the acting is phenomenal. It's the fact that the guy who wrote the books decided to change names and stuff because he did not want to be dealing with this. He didn't want to be okay, I'm going to write a book that says it's inspired by history and people are going to go after me for the details. So I'm just going to change names and change the events. And that way I can just say, hey, look, I was inspired by it, but this is not historical. If you want to learn about history, go read history. If Assassin's Creed if Ubisoft had taken the approach of, okay, like we've done, things are loosely inspired on history, but we're going to take great liberties with it. Rather than saying, okay, but this guy was a samurai and you have to accept it. If they'd have taken that approach, things would have been very, very different. Or even, my name, Jamie, they could have had him in the game as a side character or somebody you encounter or, whatever. I don't know how Ubisoft games do in Japan, to be honest, Kira. I don't know. To be honest, I don't know how well they do. I mean, Ubisoft had the Mario Rabbids games, which were actually really good. I imagine they did pretty well. You guys have no idea how insulting this game is to the Japanese. I'm getting an idea. I've been studying this stuff, looking into Thomas Lockley and a lot of this crap for years now. So,
Presents are the best way
playing
to
as
show someone how
See,
much you
XRS, I don't think that it has
like
to
the
be
tangible thing that you
directed
can point
hate
to and
over the
say,
fact
"Hey,
that it's a
man,
female
I
character.
love
I think
you.
most
This
people,
many dollars worth."
most people, given the fact that if you
The
like Ghost of
studios
Tsushima,
just hired indoctrinated peons to carry out their agenda to destroy
Hang on.
Western culture. These folks are just woke zombies carrying out their programming at this point.
well, Intrinsic, I've encountered quite a few of those on Twitter the last couple of days. People that have like massive followings, but you have no idea how they got them, and then you just spend your time arguing with them back and forth. Where you go, I'm not making any headway because they're not hearing my side of the argument. They're just repeating the same line over and over and over again. Hey, I appreciate the 10, dude. Thank you so much. You're awesome. But yeah, XRS, I don't think the game should receive hate for having a female samurai or a female character. That to me seems silly, especially if you were okay with the fact that there are strong female warrior types in the first game. To me, that seems slightly hypocritical. My issue, like I stated earlier, if you weren't here, my issue is the fact that the voice acting community and the voice acting industry has heavily pushed the idea to include the ideology and identity of the voice actors themselves into roles, not just hiring somebody to say, look, we just need somebody who's got a fantastic voice to fill a role. I mean, you have actors like Ian McKellen, who played Gandalf and Magneto, saying, look, I don't care if the actor's gay, if he's good, cast him in the role. That's the way we should treat voice acting. Voice acting should not require you to look or identify with the character you're playing. But now we see this massive push to make voice actors fit the roles that they're playing, and that makes me wonder, is this character going to be LGBT? Well, if it is, why are we putting these characters in games simply because the voice actor represents, who they are? It just seems massively ham-fisted to me. You have no idea. You just heard this name for the first time. Oh. Sucker Punch gave Assassin's Creed fans what they always wanted, and Ubisoft is just late. Yeah, a lot of social media Intrinsic is just people regurgitating other people's opinions and not having their own. Like I've been pretty vocal the last couple of days with people that are on my side, so to say, politically or whatever. And I'm just like, you just sound stupid. You sound whiny. You sound pathetic because you're not seeing the other side of the argument. You're not being nuanced at all. You're not engaging in a discussion other than saying, I'm right, you're wrong, end of story, You're supposed to be the role, not have the role become you. It's the same issue we see with people like Alyssa Mercante in the journalism world, right? In the world of covering stories about other people, she has constantly made herself the story. So again, that's the sign of a bad journalist. A good voice actor should be able to fit whatever role it is they're playing because you don't need to see them. You don't need to know a thing about the voice actor. Why were the Legacy of Kain games, aside from gameplay, so fantastic?
It is like this tangible
the
thing
characters
that you can point to and say, hey,
the
man,
characters
I love
were
you.
amazing,
This
right?
many dollars worth.
The characters
I
in
pray
Legacy
for
of
the
Kain were
future
amazing.
education for children.
Yeah, Mari, honestly, this is part of why I'm homeschooling my kids is because there's a lot of stuff that I worry about when it comes to the things that people are just being blindly taught and being told to follow. So this is one of those things, Appreciate you. Thanks for I believe that's United Arab currency, correct? Appreciate the 10 though. You're awesome. Not influenced by the LGBT. XRS, that's the thing. I just hope it's a good story. Because I want to go back and play Ghost of Tsushima. It's on my list of games I want to play. Like I said, I didn't have a PlayStation. I built a PC a few years ago for the first time where I could actually play games on it. So it's on my list of games to knock off one by one. I want to go back and play Ghost of Tsushima. And the thing that has me worried, it's am I going to go back and play Ghost of Tsushima and go, wait a second, this has always been here. The agenda's always been there, And then looking towards Yotei, is it going to be one of those situations where it's is it more of the same or is it being overblown? I don't know. I have no idea. XRS, I've talked about this in articles that I've put on my website as well as in videos that I've covered. There is a heavy emphasis being put by a lot of authors, a lot of people nowadays, these experts, these scholars, on the LGBT habits of feudal Japan. And I don't know, because you could have to ask Mari if that's a cultural thing with Japanese as far as like their history goes. I don't know how accepting Japan has always been of like LGBT lifestyles, but there's a large emphasis being put on the idea that Japan was very loose with all these different orientations and stuff back in the day. And I can't speak to that personally, but basically it looks like a modern attempt to rewrite history. And that's just me, I'm just saying that like shooting from the hip here. I don't know for sure. That's just the way it seems. They are really attempting to make homeschooling almost impossible. Yeah, there's always been a big... there's a lot of animosity against homeschool, even here in the United States. But the thing about it is, I believe we're up to more than 10% of students in this country are now homeschooled, or we're getting close to 10%, I'm pretty sure. It's crazy. Japan's LGBTQ population is higher than America's. Well, but I'm speaking like back in the day. I'm talking about like 1600s, like their acceptance back in 500, 600, 700 years ago. Yeah, Israel's very, very pro-LGBT. Children at the front line of battle for freedom. Respect the truth. Sometimes female had to fight. Yeah, no, I've caught that there has always been like female warrior class, but they were more defensive. They weren't used in offensive combat. There are more than two genders. Insanity all started from TikTok. Yeah, Aztec, unfortunately, that's just the way it goes. And you have to know what your kids are being taught. And it goes back to, like, again, the idea, this happened a lot in the 90s, where teachers are important. Like, teaching is important. I will never say teaching is not important. But I definitely think that there's been such an emphasis put on praising teachers for doing a mediocre job that we've allowed them to get lazy and to basically like work their own indoctrination into the curriculum, to where now we see this insidious agenda being injected into especially the public school system, but it happens in private school too. The only difference with private school is you're paying for it, so it makes you feel really stupid, I bet, if you find out that your teacher's like teaching some of your kids this crap and you're paying for it. But yeah, I think that we've given them too much leeway, given them permission to just teach our kids whatever, and it's like, it's been taboo to question teachers. You shouldn't have to question what's in the curriculum. Are you a teacher? Do you know what's best? Well, they're my kids, so I should hope I know what's best for my kids, you know? It's very strange. With a white protagonist, yeah. Well, that's the whole thing, Phoenix, about like having the Resident Evil game set in Africa, I guess, and it's like, oh, you're shooting African zombies. Okay, but they're zombies. They're not humans. Sorry, I gotta catch up on chat here. Let's see. Buy a PS5 now. I'm inclined to build a PC instead. Dude, yeah, I don't know. I would say if you're gonna do one or the other, obviously buy a PC or build a PC, because then you have the option to play PC games, Xbox games, PlayStation games, whatever. If you have the funds for it and you got the space for it, sure, get both. Because your PlayStation games are going to 90% of the time be more reliable as far as like how they run on your PlayStation. Versus your PC, where you're going to encounter issues like, look, my PC, this year I upgraded some parts, but I'm still using the same graphics card I had 5 years ago. When I first booted up Black Myth Wukong to play it when the game launched, because I've got an AMD processor, I could not get the game to go past the tutorial. Apparently it was an AMD issue. It took like an hour and a half during the stream and 3 attempts to get through the tutorial and actually start the game because of the fact that I had to update my drivers and everything else. You don't deal with that on a console. So there are definite pros to having a console. If you can afford to have both, obviously that's the best way to go. Maybe news spreads slowly, Aura. I think that some people are aware of it, but remember, up until a couple years ago, even here in the States, people weren't very aware of it. People were just kind of like blindly going with the flow. People weren't really paying attention. It took a lot of this crap the last couple of years with, again, the BLM protests, with the accounts like the Libs of TikTok's accounts sharing the crazy videos coming out of like the pride parades and the classroom stuff and the gender ideology and people getting canceled for using the wrong pronouns and stuff. Look, we're still seeing stories of people losing jobs like in the UK or even getting arrested for misgendering people. It's insane, you know? So the normie group of people in this world are waking up to the stuff that's happening. And I think the reason that the Gamergate stuff has gotten so volatile is because it's like, well, look, they've already captured the schools, they've captured the governments, they've captured all these other institutions. Gamers are the ones where it's like they can't capture it. They've captured the industry, but the overall majority of gamers say, I don't want this crap. And the easiest way to reject it is to not spend money on it. So that allows you to peacefully reject something without actually being like, okay, oh, you're going to get arrested. No, I'm not. I'm just not going to buy the game. When we had baddest inclusive characters. Yeah, XRS, honestly, that's really what it comes down to. It's like, would I choose as a straight person, as somebody who may not agree with all the Alphabet Mafia stuff about like different lifestyles, but I can accept that people are going to do what they do, fine, whatever. Would I set out to create a game or a show or a movie with explicitly like gay characters? No, because it's not a lifestyle that I have much in common with. It's not something that I personally want to see. Would I care that happens in games or movies? No, if it's something I don't want to play, I just won't play it. That's easy. The problem is it has gone so the opposite direction. It's so mainstream that you can't avoid it now. I'm going to need another cough drop. Holy crap. Like, I'm over being sick, guys, but the inability to breathe has been unreal. Like, if this was COVID round 2, round 3, or however many times I've had it, I don't know. At this point, I kind of assume everything's just whatever. You know, it's just been terrible. Let's see. Good Lord, I'm getting texts back from people at like 10:20 at night about work shit that I texted them about earlier today. I'm sorry, guys. Every purchase is your vote. Exactly, that's the way I look at it. The bank's funding DEI, the university's injecting it. How do we fight at the top? I mean, Phoenix, do you want to go like down rabbit holes and be like, okay, so we've got the whole BlackRock and ESG stuff. Does it start with like the George Soroses of the world? Is it all some plan to depopulate the West? And I mean, there's so many rabbit holes you could jump down. And I don't think any of them are wrong. You know, I don't think any of them are wrong. I think all of them have validity. All of them have essentially a lot of truth to them. So in that aspect, I don't think that there's any bad theory to start with. Mari and Oblivion are speaking in Japanese, and I have no idea what they're saying. Hey, Mari, you speak like 4 languages, right? I think I saw that on your YouTube channel. Absolutely, like, mind-blowing. I only speak some German. Give me a second, guys. I got to get some cough drops. Give me 1 second. I apologize, but if I don't get a cough drop or something, I am going to die. You know, when you've been sick and you feel good and you feel like everything's back to normal and you're just like, okay, I'm over it, I'm back to normal now, and then you just get a big slap in the face by life. Yeah. It's kind of where I'm at right now. Well, yeah, Marxists are 100% economically illiterate. There's no question there. Five fluent to survival. Holy crap. Oh yeah, Mari, I'm basically over it. It's just been, because I've had to work so much, and then I've had like 2 different bugs, and the wife's been sick, and the kids play sports, and so they came home after being like a long weekend, and they were sick. It's just been one thing after another. Save your memory for free storage, exactly. Yeah, the thing is, I'm 38 years old, so I am an old millennial, and I identify more as a young Gen Xer. But I have to look at Gen X and go, Gen X created Gen Z, unfortunately. Like, I don't want to put the blame squarely on Gen X for Gen Z being the way they turned out. And to be fair, there are some based Gen Zers. There's a lot of Gen Zers coming out being like, hey, you know, I don't go for any of this crap, you know? But, yeah, it's unfortunate. Whew. You've got a coworker who preaches about the Gaza ship is voting for Kamala. Well, Richie, here's what I'm gonna say about that. Gen Z's better than Alpha. Well, unfortunately, Richie, I got three Alpha kids coming up here, so I'm gonna be inclined to disagree. But we'll see. Hey, you'll know in like 10 years because you'll be close to 30 and you'll be looking at my dumbass kids generation going, what's wrong with these kids, right? And my kids will probably look around going the same thing, like, okay, what's going on? Like, I don't understand society right now. Oh yeah, no, I hate doing the whole blanket statement thing where like, oh yeah, all of Gen Z sucks, because every generation gets labeled for something that they aren't responsible for. Like millennials, dude. All I ever hear about millennials from people like my mom's generation and from Gen Xers, oh, millennials are so entitled. Millennials are so lazy. They're so soft. I'm like, I grew up working 6 to 7 days a week, sometimes working for 24 hours straight, working for nothing. Like, I've spent more hours on my feet than most people will spend in their entire lives. I'm not even kidding. So it's like, I look at it and go, okay, maybe I'm not the typical millennial, right? But to some degree, I think that certain generational things are overblown. Kids will always rebel. I never did. I really should have, though. Dude, I have seen so much out of Act Man recently after not really paying attention to Act Man. Like, that dude is so, like, I don't understand where he's at. He's, like, all over the place when it comes to, like, his opinions on shit. Is the weirdest thing. All right, let's see if all these things pop up again. Now let's get rid of all that. There we go. Whew. I'm feeling better. Yeah, the Act Ma'am, exactly. Yeah, I feel like a lot of times that people forget about the exceptions. But long and the short of it, guys, if you look at the current trend for Ubisoft stock after all of these announcements, after everything that's come out, you can see that they are sitting at an abysmal 10.10 euros at the moment. The US stock, which I don't think is a traditional stock, I'm not an expert on the stock market. I know it's like some sort of other note or whatever they call it. The US one is exactly the same way. It's down to like $2 and change. So Ubisoft is legitimately at the point where these investors are gaining enough support. This activist investor group. I believe that the most recent statistics said that there's like a 10% group of them that's trying to force them to sell the company off, which would be hilarious if they sell off and Tencent gobbles it up. I'm like, oh boy, like that wasn't the plan all along, you know? His wife/girlfriend is turning him into a typical liberal man. Oh yeah, no. If you get your wife or girlfriend to take you to a pride parade, I'm sorry, you're done. That's it. Well, Guitar Man, that's the thing. It's like, okay, people are going to vote for who they want to vote for. I'm sure I got people that maybe come across my content, maybe even subscribe, who are going to vote for Kamala Harris. Probably not likely very many, but I'm sure there's some. Okay, so you vote for who you vote for. Fine, whatever. It sucks, but whatever. I'm not saying Trump's perfect. God, I had this gal earlier on Twitter that was like, oh, but Trump did this, Trump. I'm like, okay, first off, you keep bringing up Trump. I'm not talking about Trump. I voted for him reluctantly in 2016. I voted it for him less reluctantly in 2020 because I was happier in 2019, but then 2020 sucked. And then I'm going to vote for him again in 2024, despite the fact that he's not very young anymore. Never was, really, to be honest. But hoping we can right the ship. You know, someone's going to vote for Kamala Harris for whatever reason they think, and fine, whatever. But for the people who can't at least honestly look at it and be like, okay, name one good thing she's done in the last 4 years, you know? It's crazy. Like Richie was talking about Gaza and stuff, and I look at it and go, well, the whole Gaza situation, it doesn't matter who you vote for because either candidate is going to support Israel. Kamala's probably going to be less vocal about it. Trump will be like, okay, I'm the best president that's loves Israel the most, right? But he's also less likely to start more wars. So I'd give Trump the advantage there. But both presidents, regardless of which party, are going to support Israel regardless. So there's going to be conflict in Gaza. Unfortunately, you know, from this point forward until the war, whenever it's over, is over. So I don't see the Gaza thing as much more of a political thing. I see that more as like both sides are going to support Israel regardless. But that's a completely different situation. Yeah, well, that's the thing, NS. I think a lot of people are waking up realizing, hang on a second. I talk to people, you talk to people, we all talk to people, we all know who our inner circle, our families and friends are voting for. And Kamala doesn't seem to have that many actual supporters. So when you watch videos of like street reporters talking to people and they're picking Trump way more than Kamala, you know, and you go, okay, who's actually voting for her? I believe that there's people voting for her, 100%. I believe that there's probably tens of millions of people who are going to vote for her. I just don't personally know any of them, you know? Well, Intrinsic, I voted for Trump because he wasn't Hillary. I was in the exact same boat in 2016. I did not like most of what Trump had to say. I liked a lot of the meme energy. I didn't believe he would do half the stuff he said he would. I was surprised, honestly, the first 3 years by Trump. I was actually pleasantly surprised. But Russian media is pushing Trump. That's funny because I thought Putin came out and said that he wanted Kamala to win. I can't remember. Never had a convention with the delegates. Yeah, that's a whole thing. The woman was selected, not elected. So more of the same that we've seen before. Dude, we've been on this Ubisoft thing for like an hour. Holy crap. Do you guys want to talk about the Godot engine again, or a real Japanese YouTuber subscribed to you? Dude, Mari is awesome. I saw Mari's first comment a couple days ago, and then I went and checked out her YouTube channel. I'm like, oh, I'm going to subscribe to Mari. She seems really cool. So yeah, guys, go follow Mari. She's awesome. Capability, competence, experience, skills. Yeah. Yeah, you all need to go over and subscribe to Mari. She's cool. Putin endorsed Biden and Kamala. Screw Godot. I kind of feel the same way. Well, Guitar Man, the thing is, if he handles it the way he claims he's going to, it's going to simply be, we're not sending any more money. And then just like that, the war is going to be over. It probably will be over. Look, there were stories coming out that Boris Johnson, before he got ousted in the UK, was telling Zelensky not to sign a peace accord with Russia, okay? If there's any legitimacy to that, that means that we could have had this thing dealt with, what, a year and a half ago? I don't know. Again, I don't like any politicians. There are people who are like, oh, Marjorie Taylor Greene, or oh, Lauren Boebert, and I'm like, they're just the right-wing AOCs, you know? And yeah, sure, if they were in my state, I'd vote for them because better than the alternative. I'm tired of politics always being about better than the alternative, you know? Oblivion, you'll be using your other account. Do you have a Japanese account? You have a Japanese alt, don't you? Dude, I always wanted to learn Japanese. So I learned German in school. I got pretty decent at it. I wanted to teach myself Italian. I never got around to it. And then the other ones I wanted to learn was Japanese at some point. And maybe, I don't know, maybe something else.
Do I need to be liked?
Something crazy
Absolutely not.
like Gaelic
I
or
like
something.
To be liked. I enjoy being liked. I have to be liked.
Hey, you're back as a channel member, NS. Appreciate it. Happy to be along for the journey and see you grow. Well, I'm not going to get any taller, man, just so you know. I'm as tall as I'm going to get. So if I grow, it's going to be this way, not this way. Although I can't grow this way either. Dang Crohn's disease. Skimala is like a super mayor in Dalton. The thing is, I'm going to probably get canceled one day for not calling her Kamala. I'm just like, I've always called her Kamala. It was never an issue prior to this now. But it's like, NS, are you tracking my viewers on YouTube? I'm getting all these freaking notifications on Discord. You didn't know I was 38? Wait. Dude. Hang on. Okay. Are you ready for something? You guys know why, hey, Neverland. You guys know why Tim Pool never takes off his beanie, right? You guys have all seen Tim Pool without his beanie on, I assume. Okay. The reason he doesn't take off his beanie is because he's got that 5 head going on. So the reason I always wear a hat, the exact same reason, okay? Now, I've always had a receding hairline because I wear hats my entire life. It's slowed down the last couple of years, but right around the time I turned like mid-30s, so about 4 years ago, it just started like crawling back like right away. So Pretty soon I'll be wearing beanies 24/7. You guys will know, as soon as I get into wintertime, I will have a beanie on during my streams because it'll get ice cold here in the living room, which I actually kind of prefer. I like bundling up during my streams. Dude, NS, what are you doing, man? Oh, dude, you are freaking rock star. Look at you. I'm gonna go back to the screen. Hang on. I don't know if the notification honesty gets you rewarded. Well, if we're gonna be really honest about it, no, dude, I appreciate you, man. You were awesome. Yeah, no, I'm one of those guys where I never had a chance. My hairline's been receding since forever. So I've always had a gigantic head, but the receding hairline is definitely a problem. All right, so Godot engine, we'll cover them real quick and then we'll move on. There's more interesting stuff to talk about. They had their official statement regarding the situation. And here's the thing, I can accept the fact. A lot of people have been like, oh, they shared one picture of a rainbow and all of a sudden people just came out of the woodwork to attack them. I can understand how some people would interpret it. This is, again, nuance. I can understand how some people would interpret it that way. I don't know what the original connotation was. I still cannot figure out how the entire situation started. But they put out that tweet, apparently game engines are woke now. Well, then we won't complain. Here's a rainbow. Show us your woke-hot games below. Ha ha ha, funny, funny. Okay. This all started because the gal who's the community manager is a complete lunatic, as you can see from her own profile. We'll get to in a second. So I can understand to some degree, maybe they thought they were being funny, again, in their own weird, obnoxiously queer way, as she calls herself. But again, that caused the entire backlash that we've seen, people getting banned, again, like titanium level, members, or whatever they call it, donators, the highest level of donations per month towards this game engine, getting banned for no reason. Then they released this statement. This is the funniest shit. They said on Friday, we made a tweet that unexpectedly led to a wave of harassment directed at our staff and community. That is false. It was not unexpected. It was intentional. This was intentional, like poking of the bear. It's really funny because I was explaining to my 9-year-old son what poking the bear was. And I'm like, it's an expression. It's just, when you intentionally try to irritate somebody, to goad somebody into, reacting a certain way. And sure enough, this is them poking the bear. They said, we unequivocally condemn this abuse. The volume of negative engagement overwhelmed by our moderation efforts. While attempting to protect the Godot community, we mistakenly blocked individuals who are not participating in the harassment. The Godot Foundation Board takes full responsibility for these moderation actions. So they're covering for the moderator. I don't know if you guys catch that or not. This is them saying, basically, everything she did, we condone. If you believe you were blocked in error and have not violated our code of conduct, please contact us with the form link below. We're committed to swiftly rectifying any mistakes. We firmly stand by our mission to keep our community's spaces free from hate. Oh, yeah, and then they talk about the Discord community moderator. Like digging beehives, exactly. It's 100% what that is. It's entirely trying to rattle the beehive to cause a controversy to make yourself more relevant. They're insane, Rob. Absolutely nuts. So the thing people have noticed about this is the form that it takes you to, you actually have to put in your email address. And for a lot of people, I guess it's basically you would dox yourself, not like, your personal like home address and stuff, but essentially you would put yourself on a list of people who has been banned. So you would make your way onto the naughty list for future uses from Godot. So pretty crazy if you were actually going to try to go to this form, fill it out and say, oh, I was banned accidentally. They would always look at you with a side eye after that, right? So this dude here, I talked about it in my video last night, Starkium, Life Art Studios on Twitter, said, I've been blocked. Guess what? I'm a titanium level backer for the Godot Fund. Guess what my next move is? And of course, obviously you can see where they blocked him right here. You can see he's a titanium level member for Life Art Studios down here at the bottom. So again, this guy is legit, right? All he said was focus on the engine and not politics. This dude here says giving them money doesn't remove your responsibility of not being a dick. If something as silly as this is enough to make you consider pulling your sponsorship, then you honestly should, because that shows you never really cared about it in the first place. So again, cared about what? Cared about the game engine. He's saying, I don't care about politics, I care about the game engine. But this guy here, Lume, whatever his name is on Twitter, is saying, if you didn't care about the woke politics enough, basically you're not a good enough person if you think that this is all woke politics. This is them projecting or saying I'm virtuous because I'm agreeing with this and you're bad because you think this is a problem, right? So Starkim responded and said, I've not been a dick once. The whiplash I got from Godot community is astounding. An ounce of wrong thinking, you're out with no redemption. Agenda must be pushed above all else, apparently. This person here, HP Van Brom, this is an interesting situation, says, you are literally unblocked. Starkim asks where? He says, Twitter. What's this thread about? Starkim looks and says, I guess you're right. When did that happen? Van Brom responds and says, 3 hours ago or so, so this guy is actually part of Godot. We started fixing any erroneous blocks following putting an appeal system in place and sending out the public statement. Starkim says, I'm getting whiplash again. I'm having a hard time grasping that they will unblock me on Twitter but are flaming the shit out of me in Discord. Then Van Brom responds and says, it seems that the last thing you said on the Discord was 2 hours ago and you were demanding to speak to a manager. You were already unblocked at that point. Starkim says, I wasn't demanding to be unblocked in Discord. I wanted to talk to the community manager. I wanted to hear an apology for the way I was treated. Van Brom says, I'm sorry you got blocked in the whole shitstorm that was happening. It shouldn't have happened, as we put in our statement. While we were under attack, it was hard to figure things out. It also didn't help that your tweets about the incident caused further harassment. So, real quick, I'm going to point out, in my tweet here, I quote tweeted this guy and said, Godot's response to paying supporters who were upset that they were wrongfully blocked by the insane community manager was, well, you complained and that caused further harassment, which is entirely what this guy is saying. Yes, you were blocked, but you complained about it, and now here we are. Your complaint about being blocked as a paying member caused more people to be upset. So shame on you. Starkim says, well, who are you? Rhetorical. Where have you been in all this? What about the big man or the community manager? Van Brom says, I'm as big as any other person on the board. There's no higher authority to get an apology from available. And we've been, where, I don't know what he's trying to say here, is writing our public statement, setting up an appeal system and updating how we handle this in the future. So again, somebody who is directly connected in the higher up level saying that there's nobody bigger than me that you're going to get an apology from, telling the dude who's a massive supporter, paying customer, who did nothing other than saying, please, let's just focus on the game engine and not politics, gets blocked, and this dude blames him for harassment because he complained about it. Unreal. Yeah, they were still talking about the guy attacking the guy while apologizing. Exactly. Let me see here. YouTube blocks all purchases here. Yeah, Kira, you mentioned something about that. You could try if you in the future. No, I'm not. This is not me like trying to get money out of you. I just, since you've mentioned it before, I want to give you this option. Let me see if I've got these commands working. I know I've got locals, and I want to say this will work. Subscribe star. I don't know if it's going to pop anything up or not. It doesn't look like it's working. Oh, there we go. Okay. So, subscribe star and locals are a couple options, like for membership stuff. I have them. I don't really use them, to be honest. But like in the future, if you were looking for something like a way to support or whatever, that's just another option if that makes it easier. You have a UK bank account? Okay. Yeah, I'm not trying to like angle for money out of you. I'm just saying, you mentioned it before, so I know that those are possible options. I'm not sure if that'll actually help or not. It might be universal because she's Russian. Yeah, again, I don't know. I don't know how any of that stuff works, unfortunately. I don't really have much experience with that. All I know is when I upload YouTube videos for my kids, a lot of stuff they'll use is copyrighted, and I'll be like, guys, this is going to get flagged, you know? And then, of course, it'll say it's blocked in Russia. I'm like, yeah, of course it's blocked in Russia. It's allowed everywhere else, but it's blocked in Russia. So for anybody who comes across this stream either right now or later on who's curious about game development, game engines, Redot apparently is a new game engine that is a fork of Godot. That is an open source fork, and it says it's got the goal of fulfilling the promise of Godot. We'll be having a space on Friday, 10/4, so this upcoming Friday, to formally launch. Share and let us know what you want to see us cover. So they're going to actually cover this. Sorry, Mari, I burped again. I apologize. Man, I don't know what the deal is tonight. But they caught some heat from people saying that they were just grifting or whatever. But honestly, I like the idea This guy here says, not knowing who the members are is a hard sell. We'll be coming out with a lot more info in the upcoming days. And more formally on the Twitter Spaces, this project just started and we want to see it thrive. Well, it's nice to say that there's other up-and-coming options, you know? Yeah, you have to use a VPN from Kazakhstan. Holy crap. Well, don't get in trouble if that's something that's going to cause you problems. Now, I saved the best for last, guys, okay? And the stream, I'm not even done with the stream yet. I don't know how long you guys want to hang, but I've still got other stuff pulled up here to talk about. But, a Vice documentary about Gaza that's banned in the US. Oh, curious. That's interesting. I saw this tweet, so you guys have to. This is from yesterday. Oh, this is from today. 2:45 a.m. First off, I don't know what time zone this person's in. Maybe it's because they're like I think they're in Munich, this Nat person. Yeah, I don't know. But she tweeted at Asmongold and said, hey, Asmon, can we get proof that you two take showers next? Now, this is not something that's like graphic. I'm not like, oh, this is so disgusting, but I'm just looking at this going, obviously she knows that Asmongold and other people, other YouTubers, other content creators are covering the situation going, these people are lunatics. Why are they attacking their customers? Why are they attacking their supporters? Why are they attacking their developers? And then she tweets this shit out. I'm like, is that lettuce on her head? No, that's her hair. That is they, them's, she, they, them's hair. Yeah. Luckily, I don't have to worry about scrolling her account. If I was scrolling Alyssa Mercante's account, I'd have to worry because every other picture she posts is like her ass or something. This is just the shaved head, dyed green. This is about what you come to expect. And again, I know that there are people, Sungrand Studios, who a lot of you guys probably follow on YouTube. He's talked about in some of his videos how he doesn't want to jump to conclusions about people based on appearances. And I know somebody else that I was watching was saying the same thing. But unfortunately, when you're presented with the same exact type of person time and time again, and they always act the same way, and it's like, we've talked about this before, I think 2 weeks ago or last week on Moxie's stream, I was talking about bias. Everybody has a bias. You have biases against certain types of food, certain types of people. You have biases against everything that you've experienced in life because that's your body and your brain and your every part of your being telling you, look out for this thing because it's gone poorly for you in the past. These kind of people, they scream that when you see them. Yeah, Tay, unfortunately, it's just the way that goes. You know, it's just... yeah, everyone knows Asmon's disgusting, right? You thought it was a vegetable, Mari? Yeah. It's, pattern recognition. And again, it shouldn't be a surprise that this person also goes by she, they. Why she, they, I don't know. And again, this goes, like I was talking with XRS about the voice actress, Erika Ishii, for Ghosts of Yotei. When you have this kind of person, and they're known for doing LGBT roles, and they're hired for a role where the character could possibly be LGBT, or you're expecting them to be that way, you just expect a certain amount of this mentality to bleed over into what they do, whether it's a project or a character or whatever. And we're seeing it with this person here. They're all carbon copies. Some are healthier than others, some are skinnier than others, some are more gender confused than others. Aztec, I think it's what they all want to go for. They all want to think that they could look like some, you know, hot chick in Cyberpunk or something. Unfortunately, they can't pull it off. But, so guys, I don't know how many of you have seen this. I hope that this isn't a problem for YouTube. Asmon has, like, his clothes on, so it's not like, it's not like it's a big problem. But he actually responded to this tweet from her, okay? This is, I was not mentally prepared for this when I saw this, but he actually ratioed the hell out of her. He tweeted this back at her, like no explanation, just tweeted it, and I died. I'm like, holy shit, I have to save this. I honestly have to save this. Because down here you have this person with, again, Palestine flag, trans flag in bio, saying, don't mind the bigot incels, keep posting, and then she's like, wholeheartedly intend to. So I think this was her thinking she was hot shit or something. She got ratioed in the comments, absolutely destroyed by Asmon, and I'm like, okay, look, I haven't worked out like excessively in a long time. I'm finally, a couple weeks ago before I got sick, I was finally getting back to where I was comfortable with the way I was looking, shaping back up and all that. I'm in better shape than Asmongold. I can tell you that right now. I would not be comfortable taking that picture and putting it on the internet to own somebody. So I got to give him credit for that. This is big PP energy right here. Because honestly, to be willing to humiliate yourself like this just to make a point, I swear to God, this is like the best thing ever. He's pulling off Zoro. Zoro and Robin in the same picture. Yeah, and I'm not even like a huge Asmongold watcher. I'll watch his clips. I don't usually watch his full videos. I was like blown away the one time he covered one of my videos about Thomas Lockley. That for me was a huge moment. I was like, holy crap, that's like validation there. It's like somebody like that covers your stuff, you know? Yeah, Giga Chad, big PP energy, you know? You're too old for this, Brave New World. Well, there's the thing, Troll. It's like, I'm too old for a lot of it, given the fact that a couple of years ago, I couldn't have told you who Asmongold was. But unfortunately, I kind of had to dive like headfirst into learning a lot about this shit, just to even understand like cultural references about who was who on the internet and why people were listening to certain people. It's better than like the Jack, is it Jack Doherty? John Doherty? Jack Doherty. The I Show Speeds of the world. Like the 20-something streamers, the ones who go out and just like act insane or like jackasses out in public. Those are the ones that make me feel old. Did 100 push-ups in a row today. Dude, okay, the most I ever did before I injured my back when I was like 25, I think I did 90 straight. And that was brutal. But that was back in the day when I was actually at the gym like 4 days a week. Now I've got a herniated disc in my back that's been there for 10 years. Crohn's disease, 3 kids. Oh, dude's half naked. Oh, well, like I said, Troll, I wouldn't have done it. I wouldn't normally be the one to go out there and go, okay, I'm going to go stand in my shower and take a picture of me holding a bar of soap. But given Asmon's history of being kind of like the gross guy with cockroaches in his apartment and having somebody like that go after you, I can respect his decision to clap back at her. Oh, NS 100%. Oh yeah, no, it's weird. It's weird, all right. But again, I gotta say, given the circumstances, I can understand why you did it. The Mr. Beast drama is interesting. Again, I have no use for the content, but I do find it fascinating that somebody like that thought he was too big to fail, you know? So, I came across this one a couple days ago, and here's the weirdest thing. I'm sure a lot of you guys noticed in God of War Ragnarok, again, a Sweet Baby influence game, they decided to take this character, I'm going to butcher the name, I think it's Angrboda. I think that's how you pronounce it. And she's a Jotun, so she's not exactly like one of the gods, the Norse pantheon, if you will. But she is a character in the game. And they decided, again, to make her black for reasons. I don't know. The guy who is the director of the game, I want to say is the same dude that said that the Trump assassination was fake. What's his name? I cannot remember his name to save my life. I know I did an article about him. But he basically said if you have a problem with this, rather than the fact that they're mythological creatures, who cares, they're fake, you're the problem, essentially. Because that's what they always divert to, is you're the issue. Yeah, Nexus Mods is terrible. Drama-tainment, yeah. Sorry, guys, I'm like really raspy tonight. I thought I was over it, but I'm not. No, not Neil Druckmann. Jaffe. David Jaffe, isn't that his name? The God of War dude? I think it's David Jaffe. Why do I care? I care because they're Norse characters, and Norse people aren't black. That's what I care about. They'd be no different than if you set a game with the Zulus and had somebody who was, like, Scottish mixed in with them. I'm sorry I don't know how to pronounce every single Norse name that's ever created. Most people, even like Ubisoft stands, don't know how to pronounce the CEO of Ubisoft's name. Is that somehow like French phobic? Yeah, I'm sorry. That's a stupid complaint. You could complain about other things if you want, but that's really stupid. Okay, how's the name pronounced? They whitewashed someone who they blackwashed? Yeah. Well, so the thing about it is, they decided to make a mod, and Atomically, you tell me what you think about this. Why should you care about this? Okay. They decided to make a mod on Nexus Mods to make her the appropriate skin tone for somebody who was Nordic, okay? You see different hairstyles, different skin tones and all that. This one got pulled down, but you can still be Black Geralt, okay? We found the modern audience? Yeah, a little bit. So, maybe Atomic would like to enlighten us as to why Black Geralt should still be allowed on Nexus Mods, but this Norse character, who has never been black, never should have been black to begin with, given the fact that Norse are not black, historically, why the whitewash mod is not okay. You never expect foreign people to pronounce your name right. Well, hopefully Mari is how you pronounce it correctly. I probably screwed that up too. The drama gives you views. All right. Well, you're here, so I guess you got a point there, didn't you? People use mods to gender switch characters in Fallout and Skyrim, Starfield too. Well, Starfield, do you really need a gender swap? Because you could be whatever gender you want, I thought. See, I thought it was Mari. Yeah, exactly. Both should be allowed. Hey, I don't even think it needs to be hate watching. If we can't have an honest discussion about why one's okay and one's not, then there's no point in being here. If you can have an honest discussion about why one's okay and one's not, then we can get somewhere. Oh yes, I'm sorry that I can't properly pronounce the name of fictional character inspired by Norse gods and Jotuns. I'm sorry, I said Jotun correctly. You're talking to somebody who is actually a big fan and who has studied Norse mythology. Just because of the fact that I don't know how to pronounce one character's name is not some kind of own. Invite them on? No. Richie, you know me. I do my own thing. I'm not going to invite some idiot on so that they can argue with me about something. I don't do the debate me bro shit. He can make a well thought out comment and leave it in a comment down below. He can downvote the live stream and leave a comment down below. If he wants to explain his actual position, go for it. If he's not willing to explain it here. Angraboda. Okay, so I said Angraboda. Big whoop. Now, Troll, I had one of those people show up in my Discord server about a week ago. You guys remember. And the person joined. They had some issue getting verified. I got him pushed through. Said, here you go. You're verified. Here's the chat rooms. Okay, cool. Jumps in. And over the course of 2 days, the only times they chime in are 3 times they want to argue directly with people who had said previous statements that they didn't like. So after the 3rd time doing it, I'm like, okay, why are you here? We're not having a discussion. You're arguing. You're attacking people. You're not actually having a discussion. Okay. And he's like, well, you guys are just stupid and no one's gonna, listen to me if I don't come in here. And it's like, okay, well, no one's listening to you now. All you're doing is coming in here and being a dick, being a troll. He's like, oh, well, you're one to talk about being a troll. So I'm like, dude, I'm not kicking you. You're honestly like, I'm asking you, what do you want? Like, why are you here? Are you going to have a discussion? Are you going to listen to people's points? If you think we're all too stupid to learn why you, feel the way you do, then what's the point in having a discussion? How hard is it to have open color palette body for character models? Well, here's the dumbest thing. So here's my issue with the entire situation. They ban one, not even a playable character. This is again, a character you interact with in the game. It's an NPC. It's not somebody you can play. You should be able to make them look exactly like you want. My kid is playing frickin' Madden on the Xbox earlier, and he decided to take the Seattle Seahawks roster, make them all 7 feet tall and 400 pounds. To Madden's credit, you can change the black quarterback to white. You can change the white offensive lineman to black. You can make them look whatever you want to. Because the entire thing is it's customizable. There's nobody complaining because, oh my god, he made the black quarterback white or vice versa. But Nexus Mods, for some reason, has an issue with this, but not this. And I'm just curious what the reason is. Like, why is one okay and one not? Yeah, Mari, we're good, Discord. Let me see. I think I've got all this stuff with the commands options, guys. It should pop up if you, yeah, link is in the description, but I'm also putting it in the chat here. Big helmet mode, exactly, Kira. And, you know, I was thinking about this. I was thinking about this in terms of things like Rings of Power, situations where there is just no reason to have the diversity crammed in there, where it just doesn't make any sense. It does not make sense to have certain situations where you have diversity crammed in. Hey, Blu-ray, how's it going, dude? And unfortunately, anytime you try to explain your position, they're going to call you a bigot. They're going to call you a racist. They're going to tell you, you don't like black people. You don't like brown people. You don't like this. Like, no. When you're talking about something in a setting that already has predetermined rules, that has a predetermined lore or universe, you have to go with it or it's immersion breaking. It's not immersion breaking in a movie set in any city in America to see people of different ethnicities. That's normal. Now, if it was set in a different country like Japan, which is still a mostly homogenous society, people who are not from Japan, I'm sure they stick out like a sore thumb, right? I mean, that's just the way it is. But the reality is most people, when you look at it, most people in modern societies aren't surprised to see any diversity around them in this country. We are a very diverse society here. When you get to 400 years ago, not so much. Any country, any nation across this world, you go back a couple hundred years, people did not travel as much. People did not go around and societies were not intermixing. You didn't have nearly as much like interracial marriage or any of that kind of stuff. And so there is a certain element to it that when you have a historical setting or a cultural setting, diversity is going to be immersion breaking. That's not racist to say. Look, there were, prime example, we all love medieval movies, right? European medieval movies. We're talking like 1300s, around the time of the Crusades, and you have like the English king, and you have, you know, Robin Hood and all this kind of stuff. You're only going to see 99% of the time in any film that is worth watching at all. I mean, Robin Hood has Azim, so he's a cool character, but they explain where he comes from. Again, if you're going to have a diverse character or a diverse cast, explain why. We all love medieval fantasy movies, historical movies, whatever. The reality is, again, Chinese people, African people, Americans never had castles. We have to look at England and Hungary and Germany and look at their castles. If we're watching a movie set in a time that had castles and catapults and knights on horses, you have to accept your people, whether it's Africans or Americans or South Americans, probably weren't in the same society as people who lived in castles. The same society that had kings of England and European battles and stuff and naval warfare up there. Because our society just didn't exist there. It was French, it was English, it was German. Therefore, it's not racist to be authentic to those societies, to those parts of history where those events took place. It's authentic. It makes you feel like you're actually experiencing something that happened in that time period. But again, we've been so indoctrinated to believe that just trying to stay authentic is for some weird freaking reason, some form of like, implicit racism. And it's absolutely mind-blowing. It's like, guys, it's okay if a black person, a white person, a Mexican person wants to watch a movie with knights and castles and horses and all this stuff, but you also have to accept the fact that your society didn't have that. You know, I wish America had been around long enough to have castles, but we never did. You know, I hate American history most of the time because I find most of it pretty boring. I love medieval history. I love ancient civilizations. So that's just my own thing. The 50s to 60s cowboy movies had blackface play people of color and Mexicans and Indians. Yeah. They'll call you a Gaijin? Yeah. You'll probably have to deal with that. Yeah, 99% are Japanese in Japan, 100%. But again, here's the thing, Troll, about like Rings of Power, Lord of the Rings, that kind of stuff. They'll say, okay, we'll accept that, you know, Europeans are ethnically white for the most part. Although there's massive diversity among Europeans. Italians don't look like French. English don't look necessarily a whole lot like Eastern Europeans. But then you have okay, but what about fantasy? Why can't Lord of the Rings have black people? Well, Lord of the Rings did have darker skinned people. They just weren't the Numenorians. they weren't the men of the West. They were from the East. You know, it's like where they were from the South. They weren't from the West side of things. So again, they weren't the good guys. Okay. Well, that's pretty problematic there, you know, but it's like if you want to try to create diversity in a setting that's already been around for 100 years, you have to play by the rules that exist. You don't get to break or bend the rules, you know? Yeah, further south and to the east. You like East Europeans over West Europeans? I don't know. Well, I've got some Dutch, some Irish, and a lot of Sicilian on my mom's side, and then my dad's side. I'd have to take like a genealogy, like 23andMe thing to even know where my dad's side came from. Yeah, Rob, honestly, the thing about it is, I talk a lot about how Shadow of War and Shadow of Mordor were some of the best Lord of the Rings fan fiction I've ever taken in, and actually played and enjoyed for myself. Because of the fact that even though it completely jacked up Tolkien's lore, it made a mess out of everything, it was done so well that I could enjoy it. It was so fascinating and fun to play that I'm like, yeah, it's not canon. I can accept that it's not canon, but it's a cool game. It's a cool couple of games. It was fun. But you just realize, okay, I'm not playing something that's going to be taken seriously by Lord of the Rings fans, you know? Fine, that's whatever. That's cool. But then you have things like Rings of Power where it's like they are just taking a big steaming dump on the show. In fact, while we're talking about it, I wasn't sure I was going to talk about this particular topic, but while we're talking about it, Rings of Power, which I think I'm up to date on up to this week, decided to do the most idiotic thing they could possibly do. And no, it has nothing to do with diversity or inclusion or gender swapping or whatever. They had freaking Elrond kiss Galadriel as a way of distracting the orcs that have her detained, and he's trying to slip her a lockpick so she can use this elf lockpick to undo her locks, which again, whoever thought of an elf lockpick, I'm like, this is just getting so bad. I get it. Elves were cool and had a certain amount of magical presence and stuff, but holy shit, lockpicks. Okay, all right. But yeah, it's this scene right here. And I mean, I can't even. It's like, dude, that's your mother-in-law. Legit your mother-in-law. Of course, the show never addresses what they did with Celeborn and her husband. They never addressed why she's always. So there's an account on Twitter that's a massive Lord of the Rings, Tolkien lore nerd. And he's always talking about, okay, Galadriel is on this mission to kill Sauron in the show. Something she never did in the books, something she never would have done, because he killed her brother. He is responsible for her brother's death. Apparently, if you go back in the Silmarillion and all the lore, and I've read it one time, but it was really hard to get through. The Silmarillion's a pretty thick book. Sauron ended up killing, torturing, capturing, or taking from her, every member of her family. We're talking uncles and brothers and parents and children and siblings. Sauron had an effect on Galadriel's life worse than anybody else. Between Morgoth and Sauron, they messed her up bad, okay? She never once tried to seek revenge out of all the people that died, but in the show they're like, oh, her brother died in battle and so she wants revenge. It's so insane. And now they've got her son-in-law kissing her to distract the orcs so he can give her the little elf lockpick. I swear, I'm like, I know I said I was going to finish the show because I've already committed to it. My wife and I are watching it together, shaking our heads, and my wife's not even a big Lord of the Rings lore nerd. She just thinks the show is crap and can't believe how bad it is. But we watched the first season, so I'm like, I'm going to finish it. I do not believe that there's going to be a second season. I cannot believe that they'll do it, despite how much money they spent on the first two. Sony's been hacked again. So Richie was saying earlier that that the PlayStation, the network was down or something. There was a big internet attack? Oh, good God. No. No. Not again. Her family called your family the White Devil. Oof. Oh, so my son is reading The Hobbit for the first time. My oldest son is. He's about done with it. My daughter, who is 9, so she's got a twin brother. My 9-year-old daughter read the entire Harry Potter series this year in like a month. She went from one book to the next. These are some thick ass books. I could not believe how thick the Harry Potter books are. She went through the entire series in like a month. She's a bookworm. I gave her the Lord of the Rings Fellowship of the Ring to read. She got like 30 pages in and she's like, I'm going to wait till I'm a little bit older. I'm like, yeah, probably not a bad idea. It's not quite the same as the movies. Verizon was down too. Oh, I saw something about that. If they really want to go trans edgy woman boss, why ruin canon for everyone? Shake your head. Yeah, I never made a Sony account. I actually thought about it when I was going to play through Concord because I got a free copy, not free copy. I downloaded the beta for Concord when they were doing the beta. And then I got a copy of, what is it, Suicide Squad, but I think that also requires a Sony account. I could be wrong about that. And if I ever get Ghost of Tsushima on Steam, apparently I have to make a Sony account for that, even though it's a single-player game. You got T-Mobile? I'm on AT&T, and I hate it. Dude, I should have just gone through Comcast when my last contract was up. I really should have done it. But I went to Costco because I'm a big Costco guy. No, not like the Costco boys. I hate them. And unfortunately, my phone is... I'm on like another year and a half until it's over. It was like a 3-year contract. I hate AT&T so much. So, where were we at here? Hang on a second. I think I skipped over some stuff. Oh, this was a good one. Talk about Japan. Talk about some woke shit. Dustborn. I'm not sure if you guys saw Smash JT's article on this. Dustborn was shown at the Tokyo Game Show, which looked massive. I don't know if you guys saw the actual lines around the building to get into the Tokyo Game Show. Crazy. Like, I wish I could have gone. That Tokyo Game Show is something I would actually probably like to go to in the future. I've decided for years not to bother going to like the Seattle Comic-Con or the game conventions they have here in Washington. I'm like, I just don't feel like going to those places. I know what to expect from 90% of it. But the Tokyo Game Show had a booth for Dustborn, and apparently they couldn't get more than like 4 people to sit down there, which is the funnier part is, apparently in Japan, on the Japanese Steam charts, there's like only 4 people that even played Dustborn the other day, like a total of 4 people playing in all of Japan. So Valiant Renegade says Dustborn paid about $2,500 for this booth at the Tokyo Game Show. Again, some more taxpayers' dollars wasted on this crap. Absolutely mind-blowing, okay? There's 4 people playing Dustborn on Steam in Japan, as per subsequent Side-Scroller podcast or Stuttering Craig. Ergo, Dustborn actually managed to lose money on a friggin' expo booth. Well, I can't imagine that this booth here... I mean, look, it's just not visually appealing, guys. There's just no reason people would want to go and sit down there. Feeling that Red Thread Games is locked in that booth long before the game came out and flopped? Yeah. Well, Kira, they didn't pay for it. Like you said, this is all taxpayer dollars. The dude dressed in black is the CEO. This dude over here? Oh, I think you're right. That is, what's his name? Ragnar. I think his name's Ragnar. Yeah, 4 Japanese people playing it. Honestly, it was probably somebody who's like an expat that's in Japan who's probably not even Japanese. Looks like a Nickelodeon promo. Yeah. No, it's really bad. It is really exceptionally cringe. And again, I'm sure that, there's a lot of indie developers who'd be jealous to have a setup this nice. And I say nice, kind of tongue-in-cheek. Because even stuff like this, again, $2,500 just to have the booth, it costs a lot of money. It's a lot of money people, smaller developers, smaller companies don't have. But I can't imagine, like, okay, guys, somebody looked at this. Somebody looked at this and said, this is a great idea. Like, this will go great. This is fantastic. Not to mention, they're not along a wall. So think about it this way. This is a premium spot, okay? I've done enough shows, like retail shows in convention centers, in expo halls, Your corners, anything that has a corner on it is prime real estate, okay? The inline 10x10s, anything against the wall is going to be the cheapest way you can go. Anything like this that's a standalone floating 10x10 space is going to cost you a pretty penny. And this is easy, this is like 15x15 or something, it looks like. So they chose to get like front and center in the middle of the room rather than being along the wall there, thinking that this setup was going to be like, oh, we're going to showcase this game. They're all going to love it. All these Japanese people are just going to come sit down and play this game. Had to send money back to the location for McDonald's. Damn. October will be Dragon Age and Unknown 9. Dude, Unknown 9 Awakening is dead on launch. And I would say that not just because of the fact that they have the DEI involvement, but nobody knows about the game. So, to be fair, games like Unknown 9 Awakening, I think that there has been a limited amount of advertising due to the fact that they know the game is going to lose money. So why waste the money on advertising? So, that being said, if they felt confident about it, they'd at least pay to advertise, but they know it's not going to be successful. The seats look uncomfortable? I don't know. I mean, they got that metal bar on the back. Maybe that's not very comfy. But they do look like that. The seats almost look like they're meant for children. They are pretty short. So that is pretty interesting. I did see a picture somebody had of one dude that was sitting down, playing it, sitting in the seat. And yeah, I think it's a very, very like low bar stool type thing. We don't like invasion on art. Yeah, I can't blame you. The whole booth looks uncomfortable. Yeah, I mean, if one of you Googles like Flintlock player base right now, like total Steam players, there's nobody playing it. Of course, just kind of continuing on the whole thought process of trolling these people. Learning the Law shared this on Twitter and ended up on one of these game forums. NEOGAF, I don't know, NeoGAF, I don't know. I hardly go to these because most of them are like massively left-leaning. A lot of these forums and like Reddit-type sites are. But you can see right here, he's like, is the First Descendant in Korea just trolling Concord and Western developers at this point? If this is a troll, it's subtle, but it's pretty damn funny. So, again, First Descendant, I'll admit, not my favorite game. I thought it was okay. The action is fine. I would still, if I was going to sit down and play a game, like genuinely pick a game to play, I'd probably play Warframe instead of First Descendant. Warframe, I just know more. I've played hundreds of hours on that game. I'm more comfortable with the gameplay mechanics of that game. But, you know, the game is fine. If you're going to get into one of these kind of shooters from the get-go, there's nothing wrong with First Descendant. And the character models are fantastic. They look way better than most current games. But here's this recent skin for one of the characters on First Descendant. And here is this DEI slop from Concord. Again, I don't know how anybody, any concept artist, any developer, anybody who has any sense of aesthetics at all can look at this and be like, okay, what's the point of this? What exactly is the point? I mean, this is so bad. Like, holy shit. I don't know. To me, I feel like it could be a troll. It's subtle, but it's there, you know? So, of course, you got people down here saying, I mean, the characters look nice in First Descendant, but I got bored very quickly. I can, again, kind of agree with that. I think you need help if you're seeing Concord everywhere. It's gone now. It can't hurt you anymore. Looks more like the Doom guy. I guess Twitter brainrot accounts see what they want to see. They don't even look remotely similar. Well, that guy's got a pentagram, so I don't... not going to take his advice on too much. I swear they're obsessed with it. I think it would have to be a lot worse to be trolling Concord. No, I don't think the point would be to have it look terrible to troll Concord. I think it'd be like, we're going to take your design and make it look good. Seek help. Nothing against Concord mocking, but this one's far-fetched. I don't know. I think it's pretty similar. Okay, so Valby's a water-based character, so they gave her a frog suit. Okay, so you could say that that's supposed to be a frog suit. Well, then what the hell is this? This looks like a frog too, right? Like, I don't know. He says it's between Destiny 2 and Warframe. Yeah. So I got bored with Destiny 2. I tried playing Destiny 2. I want to say 3 years ago with some of my friends, my buddies, and I just couldn't commit to it. I couldn't be made to care. Then I started playing Warframe. I'm like, okay, this is really addictive. And Warframe was... Here's the thing about Warframe. Everybody at the studio that made Warframe is like super woke. They're super left-leaning, very much diverse and inclusive. They have a lot of the characters, the frames, the suits in the game that are intentionally supposed to be like non-binary and stuff. The game is still good. If I was going to point to one game as an example that woke can still make money if done properly, I would say Warframe is an example of a game that doesn't overstep the politics. They don't overstep the messaging. They don't make the game inferior to try to push a narrative. They just put things in the game that they want to see. And sometimes you might like it, sometimes you might not, but it never hurt or ruined the game. Like, anybody who's like a left-leaning developer, people who want to try to like find subtle ways, I shouldn't be suggesting this because it's a terrible idea. Like, these people are going to try to use this as like some sort of like blueprint. If you want to be subtle and still make a good game and still have ways to like put your own beliefs and ideology into a game, Warframe is the way to go. That game did a fantastic job of still being a very good playable game, despite knowing that a lot of developers are probably like left-leaning lunatics. So why do you think Sucker Punch might make it good? Hey, I'm not saying that Ghost of Yotei won't be good. I've said from the get-go, judge the game when it comes out. I made my last video on it. It's one of my longer videos explaining all the things that I'm concerned about, explaining what my beliefs are about the actress. She should be allowed to voice the character, but I'm not going to be shocked when the character turns out to be some man-hating lesbian. You know, I'm not going to be shocked by that. But again, prove me wrong. I could be wrong about it, but I won't be surprised if that's the case. It's probably Ghost of Yotei is probably gonna be 10,000 times better than Concord. I mean, no question there, right? Then you got Paul Tassi complaining about First Descendant. This cracked me up. This broke Paul Tassi. So you had this character Haley. I think this is the sniper character that came out in First Descendant. Oh, this is Viessa? No. I don't know. Is Viessa a different character? I thought this was the Haley character. Right? Actually, this might not be a Haley skin. It says the First Descendants Summer Viessa is the final shape for the quote sexy costumes crowd. There is nothing left, just nudity, just a naked chick walking around with guns, mission accomplished. Now, what's really funny, and I didn't know much about this at the time because when I was younger, my mom was very much anti-guns. My dad actually, when he was younger, before I was born, he wanted to be a cop, and she didn't want him to be a cop because she didn't want him to have a gun at home. She was that against guns at the time. So I didn't grow up with a gun in the house. So after I started like learning about firearms and firearm safety and starting to put my own, rifles and stuff together, I found out that apparently the gun bunny thing was a real thing. The whole idea of marketing firearms with sexy women. Something that I didn't know about. Apparently that was like a little before my time. I guess that was popular in the 80s, but I just didn't really know it was a thing. And so now you got Paul Tassi complaining about, oh, it's just a hot naked chick walking around with guns. I'm like, dude, this is a marketing tactic that worked for years, okay? Like, mission accomplished. You're right, Paul. I'm sorry that this hurts your delicate sensibilities, but like, holy shit, dude. Oh, yoy. Bread and butter's the automotive industry, yeah. Why doesn't Paul Pussy just come out as gay at this point, since he seems to have so much problem with hot babes? And that's the thing. You could be like, okay, it's not for me. Look, even in a game that has like attractive women or sexy outfits, I still tend to play a big buff dude. I like the big tank characters. I like the aesthetic. I like the way they look. That's just my personality type. It's like I tend to find the biggest suit of armor and the biggest weapon, and that's how I like to play my games. That's just the way that I'm engineered. When I played a ton of Guild Wars, my most hours were on my warrior, and if it wasn't my warrior, it was my paragon. If it wasn't my paragon, it was my my dev, my dervish, or whatever they call it. But it's like the elemental type characters, my ranger, I didn't like the ranged characters. I wanted to be right up there in the action, so you play the big armored characters. That didn't mean I had a problem with the hot chicks in the game or the scantily clad women in the game. It's like, it all goes together. It's all fantasy. Like, dude, this is why we talked about before. I'm not going to cover it tonight because I actually don't even have the article brought up. The entire Dragon Quest controversy, where the Japanese had to basically change the costumes so that ESRB ratings wouldn't flag it here in the US and make it a mature game and limiting its scope. It's like, look, I am 100%, my kids, I don't let them watch anything objectionable, okay? My oldest son's almost 12. I'm like, I still monitor what he watches. That being said, if we went to a beach, I wouldn't see some woman in a bathing suit and go, oh my God, I can't let my kids see that. No, there's things that they're going to see in life, like a woman that's attractive in a bathing suit or whatever. It's not going to scar them for life. So I think that there's like a fine line you can walk. But it's just crazy that we have like this absolute moral puritanism when we didn't used to have this. It used to be like on the opposite side of things. Like all the left-leaning people were all like, yeah, guts and nudity and this all this shit. And it's like, it was the right wing that was all like super conservative. Now it's like, as long as your private parts are covered and a man is a man and a woman's a woman, I think we're all pretty good. Like, I think we've got most of this figured out at this point. Like, just do your indecent stuff in private and not in public. But yeah, Paul Tassi, these guys are all such freaking jokes. It's pathetic, I swear to God. He might be gay, I don't know. Large march for the orc. Yeah, what about Street Fighter? Well, you know, Mari, now they've got Chun-Li in tights or leggings or whatever, or yoga pants, because she shows too much thigh. So I explain that to me. I don't know. The prude attitude's only in North America? Maybe. But it's not even... So, Kira, here's my thing. Like, I believe that society is so screwed up when it comes to, like, morality and modesty, right? You have the same people, the left-leaning, left-wing, sex work is real work, don't slut-shame women, it's empowering if they walk around naked. Those same people are the same ones saying that if you have an attractive woman in a video game, that's somehow objectifying and bad for women. You see what I'm saying? It's this weird, just completely disjointed hypocrisy. It's completely hypocritical. Hey, H. Brown, dude, how's it going? Yeah, the Middle East isn't even as bad as the Americas are, I swear. America's terrible. The left is displaying heterophobia and they have the power since they're in the outlets is disgusting. Agreed, 100%. 100%. And that's the thing, it's like, guys, I'm not even like I'm not a prude, but I'm also not like a total degen where I need everything to be like over-sexualized in my games. I feel like I've got a very good balance. I've got no problem with like sexual or sexy characters in games. Again, I'm not going to seek out the most revealing outfits all the time. It's just not my thing. Okay, you know, I'm past that. Maybe when I was 20 years younger, as a teenager, absolutely, I'm sure I would. You know, I'm almost 40 now. I just don't care. But that being said, it's like, I feel like that we are all the normal ones, and it's like the really loud ones in the media that are the actual like prudes. But they're hypocritical themselves because they can't even decide what's good and what's not. Same people celebrating the bear. Exactly, NS. It's the whole meme. It's the entire meme about how, you know, this is safe and the safe horny versus what's, you know, objectionable. Yeah, again, and in Stellar Blade, Eve is never actually naked in the game. But again, it's all female objectification and the male gaze, and it's like, you guys are cringe. So, speaking of games journalists, I saw this video from Asmongold from about 3-4 days ago, and this has to be shared. I don't know if you guys have seen this, because I get called grifter. Not as bad as people, like other people in the YouTube space, because I don't know. Maybe I'm just not big enough to get called a grifter. I mean, obviously, this other dude, I can't remember what this dude's name was who was in here saying that I only care because it's good for views or whatnot. Yeah, white erasure is a thing, but I only care for views. Right, okay. Yeah. Afrocentrism is real, but I only care about it for views. Okay. Anyways, that being said, apparently Kotaku, and I don't go to their site without ad blockers or an archive of the article, so I'll do one or the other. I usually have my ad blocker on. Kotaku's website, if you look at the number of ads that they run on their articles, this is insane. Like, you guys have to, it's a 4-minute and 53-second video. You just have to kind of track along with this. This is absolutely insane, the amount of ads that are on here. Just check this out.
Okay, all right, let's go ahead and start this out. And I don't really think I have a lot of ad blockers on this, okay? Let's see, the ads were loading. There's an ad right here. Okay, we got an ad right here, a video ad, another ad right here. Got a second ad right there. This probably is another, this is an ad for another video that they're doing that has an ad in it. So it's an ad for a video that you're not trying to watch.
So right off the bat, you have 4, you got a banner ad, 3 on the side, and a pre-roll ad in a video that's not related to the article that you're reading, okay?
It has an ad for a product you're not trying to buy, and then there's another ad right there, and then you scroll down away from the video. Now the video is picture-in-picture, and it's smaller. You're still looking at the fucking Fox. There's another fucking ad. It's Adobe. You want to keep reading. Guess what you have to read? That's right, another fucking ad. And then you've got that ad. Then you have this ad. Now the website's lagging. I'm lagging.
The funny thing is they got Alyssa Mercante right down here. You guys can't see it. Let me hide my webcam a second. You got this little picture-in-picture here with Alyssa Mercante. Oh, man. How does she still have a job? How does she still have a job? That's what I honest to God want to know, guys. Like, I get it. You know, she generates clicks to their website. So right now, Asmon's showing this. He's giving them, you know, he's giving them the ad revenue and all that. Fine. Okay. But people like me, when you use an archive link or you are using it with ad blockers, they're not getting any ad revenue from that. So they have to realize most of the people, YouTubers, people who are terminally online like most of us are, if we're going to these articles, going to these websites, we have ad blockers on. They're not making money off of us. Too many tabs? Well, okay. Troll, the thing is, I can understand what he's going through here, because if I'm doing a video, or sorry, a live stream, a video typically, if it's a in-depth video, it's gonna have like 15 tabs open. If I'm doing a live stream, I think I've got like 20 open right now. And that's even like, I didn't even pull up everything that I was planning on talking about tonight. Oh God, NS, I don't wanna think about that. Yeah, she has been promoting the Twitch channel. Now, Kira, the really funny part about that, and I don't want to say it because I don't want to be that guy. Like, there's a few accounts that, you know, spend a lot of time going through her tweets, and I don't even care anymore. I get tagged in them, I see them, I kind of chuckle. I'm like, yeah, she's insane. Unless it's a serious thing, I don't want to talk about her. I don't want to cover her. She's just not that interesting. She's not a good person. She's not worth covering. She's not worth my time. But, you know, it's one of those things where it's like, I don't know. I'm just going to go back to playing this guy. I'm losing track. She said so herself. She's so not so unlikely. But anyways, I was going to say, I wouldn't be surprised to see her do the Twitch to eThought pipeline that we see so many times. Because unfortunately, there's a lot of crossover between like the OF accounts and Twitch, or the Fansly, or even like, I think Patreon allows some like artistic nudity or whatever. So we see like there's a lot of crossover between the girls funneling people back and forth from Twitch to these other things. And given her own declaration, her own words, saying that she'd rather go back to sex work, as she called it, even though she claims she's never had sex with anybody, rather than put up with like journalism and crap, it wouldn't surprise me to see her take that route. And I'm not hoping she does that. God, I'm really not hoping she does that at all. Like, please keep your clothes on the rest of your life. Shower with your clothes on, please. This woman, she takes a picture of herself pissing on the toilet, like in a bathroom, you know, pants around her ankles, you know, sitting on the john, taking a leak, takes a picture. I'm like, why? You know, why? What? Other than like creating drama, what's the point? All right, let's see.
Now, okay, you've got one. Okay, this is a screenshot. Then you've got this ad, and then there's the other ad right there. Don't forget to subscribe. Give us your email address. Hey, have you been to CVS lately? Hey, look at me. Thumbs down. Oh, wow, look at that. There's another fucking ad. Buy this house. Oh, here's an ad. Look at this guy. It's your old guy and his son. Buy fucking insurance. Oh, here's another ad. Renew your look. Don't play this game.
Like, look at this. Here's the crazy thing. Do you guys use, I'm sure most of you use ad blocker. I never see web pages, websites that look like this because your ad blocker's on, right? And ones that require you to remove your ad blocker to use, typically like Forbes or whatever, I'll try to find like an archive link of the article because I'm like, dude, you're really annoying. I know there are some ad blockers you guys have told me in the past that are better where they can get around that. But for me, it's like if a website tells me to disable my ad blocker or I can't see it, I'll try to find like an archive link to it. So I never see web pages that look like this. This is like vomit. This is just pure like dystopian ad hell on Kotaku's website here. It's absolutely beyond like insane.
If you're under 40 because it's probably porn. Never mind, it's Raid Shadow Legends. And then look at this, Bumble and Bumble. Oh, there's another one. The secret game for gamers over 42 years old with a Asian girl in.
Yeah, no, actually, H. Brown, you're probably 100% right about that because she, I don't know, her. I'm not one to talk because my voice can get grating at times. I know we all hate the sound of our own voice typically. Alyssa doesn't. Alyssa loves the sound of her own voice. You know, you're right. She would never do the VTuber thing because she has to have her face in front of the camera. I mean, look, I do this for live streams because I feel like it's better for a conversation so that you guys can see me. But like, if I didn't feel like it, I could just turn the webcam off and be perfectly fine. I'd probably get less views, less interaction, but I figure, you know, this is a good way to have an open conversation. You guys chat here, you can see me talking to you, I'm a real human. You know, that's good for conversation. But like when I do my regular videos, I tend to not have the camera on because it just works better because I have so much going on this side of the camera, you know? I don't have it like all neat and tidy in my living room and all that stuff when I'm recording videos every single night. So that being said, Alyssa would probably never allow herself, never get out of her own way to do the VTuber thing because first off, she's not going to be doing the silly, sweet, sexy, cute, you know, anime voices like these other girls do with all the ooh-woos and stuff. And yeah, she's too stuck on herself. She thinks she's hot shit. There's no way that she wouldn't have her face in front of the camera.
What looks like a schoolgirl outfit between the ages of probably 16 and 21. And then here we go, another ad right here. She wished on a star, Disney Plus, another ad.
Oh yeah, a lot of these ads are also Disney Plus, he points out. It's a Nikon, dude. It's an old DSLR camera that I got from Costco for like $400, $500. And I used it for a couple years, taking pictures of like my kids and stuff around the house or whatever. But I bought one of those Camlink things. I got the off-brand Camlink, the made in China one, like Elgato makes. And so I've been using that. And of course I have to, my camera doesn't have like a constant video stream, so I have to always like every 30 minutes wake it back up or it'll shut off. It's not ideal, but it is what it is. See, Aura, I don't typically watch VTubers. I'll watch Kirsch. So I'll watch some of her clips. I don't typically watch like a full stream. Kirsch has a good voice. I don't mind her voice. Romanian V, actually, it's really funny. He retweeted me today. I'm curious. He's covering a lot of this Godot stuff. He might use my article tomorrow. I don't know. I gotta wait and see. He's funny because he's got that troll character he uses, and that's pretty hilarious. Yeah, a lot of VTubers are, I don't know. I don't know. Kind of strange. I think it's cool. I think it could be very interesting if done right. Well, yeah, but okay, so there's this dude that I know. He's a Twitch streamer. He streams on Kick and YouTube. And he's a big streamer when it comes to like shooter games. All he plays is like good lord, she texted me again at 10:40. Okay. Woman does not respond all day about work stuff, and then she texts me twice. Freaking okay. Ugh, life is kind of hell right now with work. Anyways, this dude, I was asking him one day because he's got a couple of really nice cameras. He's got like 2 different cameras set up. He's got his nice little room set up with he's got an extra TV monitor going. He's watching some other streamer while he's doing his stream. He's got 3 monitors here, and he's got his computer case in the background, and he's got his beautiful picture quality and all these different things set up, right? And so one day I was DMing him. I'm like, so what camera do you use? And he's like, well, I use a couple. They're these mirrorless, blah, 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 blahs. And he sends me a link to them. And I'm talking one of the cameras was $2,500 and the other was $5,000. So I was like, holy crap. Like I'm using a camera that I already have had for several years. That's like a $400, $500 digital camera, okay? And this man has like $7,500 just in cameras alone. I'm like, well, it looks great. Like it looks awesome, man. You're doing something good there, but there's no way I can afford that. So yeah, we all have different things that are acceptable for us, you know. What does VTuber mean? Virtual, I believe. Doesn't it stand for virtual tuber? Virtual, like, YouTuber? Yeah, so Kira, it's people that use, like, the anime avatar, the motion capture ones, where they'll have, like, some sort of motion capture device, or it'll just have a camera watching them, and they'll move around, you know?
Add. Another ad, Progressive Insurance. Another ad, scrolling down, ads. Look at this, ad. I feel like, look at this. This is insane. You've got another ad. Now you've got whole body deodorant. Why are day traders switching to futures? Click this ad and find out. Amazon's worst nightmare. Yeah, look at this. Last month's popular Twitch clip was just a butt. Wow, amazing content.
Like, this goes on and on and on. The amount, so
apartments is
anytime that the people want to call right-wingers or perceived right-wingers or YouTube reactionary, anti-woke, blah, blah, blahs and stuff, anytime they want to call these people grifters, it's like, you guys work for a website that has no soul, that has no heart, that spends its entire time trying to drum up hate clicks, because that's all you got now is hate clicks, from people who actually communicate with people in the gaming industry and in the audience about stuff that we share in common, things that we disagree on, things that we have, you know, similar opinions on. And it's loaded full of ads. Loaded full. I'm talking hundreds of ads if you kept scrolling down. Hundreds of ads. But because I make a few pennies per view on, you know, a YouTube video or, you know, whatever, I don't even know if I make any ad money on, like, my live streams, to be honest. Like, these people are such hypocritical assholes. Pardon my French, but, like, I'm so sick and tired of people throwing the grifter word out there. It's like, to me, grifter implies that you don't believe the things you're saying. That's it. If that's the case, then you're a grifter. Me, I believe everything I'm saying right now. Not a grifter. There's the difference. But whatever. I just found this funny. I found this pretty fascinating. Yeah, honestly, I wouldn't put that past him, Kira, you know. Airbnb pays for Kotaku. Oof. Yeah, again, they want to say... So, the dude, Del Walker, I remember I talked to you guys about this a little bit. When I got banned on Twitter, story time, just give me one sec. I need a drink of water. When I had my Twitter ban a week ago, where I tweeted something out, had nothing violent in it. I was talking about the state of Canadian medicine, where they'll actually, you know, end people's lives for simple things like a migraine or depression or whatever. And I said that Canada is essentially encouraging or trying to get their citizens to end their own lives, but I said it with the kill themselves phrase put together. Twitter was automatically, like, looking at that going, oh, you said X, Y, and Z. I'm like, no, I didn't say that. But whatever. It didn't get flagged. It didn't have any issue. Twitter never told me, oh, you know, you probably shouldn't post this. It's going to be, you know, considered a violation of our terms. Whatever. It wasn't flagged. Then Del Walker, the dude from Rocksteady, the dude who said that the games industry was making his characters ugly, and then he recanted 2 days later after speaking privately with other black developers, and then said he would not say anything further on the matter. The man completely cucked out. He backed out. He basically is like, yeah, I might feel this way, but I'm not allowed to talk about it, so whatever. That dude decided to put my entire video library on blast on Twitter. The same day, somebody reported that tweet about Canada, which somehow got me suspended for a week for violation of terms of service revolving around the violent content policy, okay? Del Walker wanted to call me a grifter, wanted to say that I was using clickbait or hate whatever, and it's like, dude, I am legitimately one of the nicest people you're probably going to encounter on YouTube. There are a lot worse. I can have a nuanced conversation. I can have disagreements. Look, I defended Hellblade. I defended Hellblade 2 until I actually played the damn thing, and then I realized how terrible the game was. Like, I'll be willing to have conversations with people. Like, I'm allowed to critique things. That's what we do here. But he's like, oh, these people don't even offer critique or criticism. What are we doing right now? Like, what are we doing? We're critiquing, right? That's what we're doing. We're offering criticism. The reason that we're seeing so many bad games right now is because of this culture of toxic positivity, like we've heard that Concord had, like Ubisoft has with Assassin's Creed Shadows. The inability to take criticism at surface, at face level, and learn from it is why so many of these studios are failing, okay? That's just the reality of the situation. So again, telling me or telling people, oh, well, you guys are just using like, you know, terrifying thumbnails and you're trying to get people's attention. Sure, okay. That's how articles work. That's how Kotaku works. That's how any news organization works, is you try to make an interesting, catchy headline that people are going to want to read, that people are going to want to watch. If you simply state something in a monotone type voice where you say, this person was fired and blah, 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 that's it. Who's going to want to watch that? I wouldn't. You want something that's going to interest you, something that's going to grab your attention ahead of all the other millions of people that are making videos on the same topic. So, yeah, after a while, you have brand recognition like Asmongold. You have guys like Some Ordinary Gamers. You have guys like, again, you know, a Romanian TV where everybody knows who they are. Or at least Romanian TV's got like 80,000 subscribers on his Lack of Entertainment channel. It's like, by that point, people know who you are. People know who Very Dark is. She doesn't necessarily need to have like the most catchy thumbnail or tagline in the video to get people's attention because she's established. So it's like, you want to criticize YouTubers for doing the exact same thing as the mainstream media, but at least we're being honest about our opinions, whereas they're just going to go with whatever way the wind blows. So, I don't know. Just a little side tangent, you know? Yeah, Will, I saw something about that. Absolutely crazy. Yeah, Kira, it's the MAID program that they have, Medically Assisted in Dying. And apparently pointing out that Canada actively wants their citizens to end their own lives is worthy of getting suspended for a week on Twitter. Because that's all I literally said was Canada wants you to end your own life. I just said it poorly, you know. Stay in good favor with the dev companies, 100%. Yeah, I mean, that goes back to, again, before I knew what was going on, the whole Gamergate thing, when that kicked off, that's entirely what was going on there. And speaking of which, I hate that he used this freaking thumbnail. I hate it so much. God, go away, you pop-ups. One of these days, I'll figure out how to properly get my Stream Deck to do everything I want it to and get it integrated properly. But in the meantime, shit just pops up. So, Smash JT, one of the people who's been the most vocally critical of Alyssa Mercante, the two of them have been going back and forth for months. She blocked me, and like I said, I didn't care to continue any discourse with her. Once in a while, she'll pop up in a YouTube video, or we'll talk about her like right now. But she sent him a letter. He hired Ron Coleman, who sent back a letter, basically told her to get stuffed. And apparently his GoFundMe for the $2,500 retainer, that he paid Ron Coleman has already gone up to $5,279. Pretty freaking amazing. Now, again, I don't think, well, I'm not going to speak for him. I don't know that he necessarily needs more than what he's gotten here, given the fact that I don't think she's going to continue a lawsuit. So I wouldn't say, I wouldn't recommend donating more at this point until we know for sure if she's actually going to pursue some sort of insane legal attack on Smash JT. But the fact of the matter is, he raised this in like a matter of a couple days, double what he was asking for. So it covered the $2,500 retainer he gave Ron Coleman. He's already sent her the, yeah, get stuffed, I'm not going to respond to this cease and desist at this point anymore. And now the shoe is on her foot to have to respond. So she tweeted this out apparently saying, I was hopeful, and again, she decides to, again, use his full name here, even though he does not go by his full name on YouTube. She has his full name, so she uses it because she's a psycho. I was hopeful that Jeff Tarzia would take my letter as an opportunity to be more mature, but in the absence of his good sense, I'll be pursuing legal remedies and have given my team permission to pursue those. Now, guys, I don't have the tweets pulled up here, but I know Blu-ray, I know a lot of you guys have seen these. The person she has as her legal counsel has allegedly used letterhead paperwork that doesn't actually, doesn't correspond to where he actually works. I guess he's a self-employed lawyer, but at one point he was employed at this law firm, so he typed up a letter that had their letterhead on it. But I guess that's not even legit, like he doesn't even work there anymore. The man has posted like really horrible stuff on Twitter, things that he wishes like violent harm towards people, specific people, and it's like, This is the person she has representing her in this completely like frivolous lawsuit. It's absolutely mind-blowing. You don't know her, Mari? Oh, you were fortunate. So, Mari, when a lot of this Gamergate stuff kicked off, in fact, let me grab the article, because I have to give Alyssa Mercante credit. Alyssa and Ash Parrish at The Verge, and of course a few other less than lovely people, are what created a few of our YouTube channels, at least initially. The media covering for the corrupt industry is what created a lot of this mess that got some of our channels a little bit more attention. Let me see. It's involving the whole Sweet Baby Inc. situation, because she came out defending Sweet Baby Inc. Back in March. Hang on. What was her article called? I think The Verge is the one that did the article that said Sweet Baby Inc. doesn't do what you think it does. Let me just look for Sweet Baby Inc. Oh no, that was Alyssa's article. Okay. So Mari, here's a little bit of context for you, okay? So, oh god, Chrome is killing me. I gotta switch to something besides Chrome. This is terrible. Oh, it's completely frozen. There we go. All right, so going back to, when was this written? March 6th. Holy crap. She got grifted by her own lawyer. Yeah. Yeah, no, Kira, it's entirely people who are basically like yes queening her. Mari, she's completely narcissistic. She is somebody who is in... I know, I gotta switch to Firefox, honest to God. I'll get it all switched over at some point. One of these, maybe this winter when I have less work and I can actually take a whole week and be at home and, you know, I can actually focus on it. Maybe I'll get everything switched over to Firefox. Oh, I forgot that she went on CBC. Well, dude, they did the same thing with people like Anita Sarkeesian back in Gamergate. So anyways, Mari, this is the article she wrote for Kotaku. Said, Sweet Baby Inc. doesn't do what some gamers think it does. Now, this is back in March 6th, when Brutus Rambo made his Sweet Baby Inc. Detected website. The Steam Curator page. This is before he had the website. And one of the employees at Sweet Baby Inc. tried to reach out to Steam to get his entire account taken down. The media came out and defended Sweet Baby Inc. because of the pushback that they were getting from gamers. Alyssa Mercante, senior editor at Kotaku, because she's buddy-buddy with all these people, decided to run this massive fluff piece, basically saying that gamers are crazy, that Sweet Baby Inc. isn't pushing some woke agenda, that essentially we're all just, you know, being gaslit, we're all just, you know, being crazy, and we're all just, you know, making this fake culture war out of nothing. And basically just did this thing where, again, it's misdirection and blaming is all she did. So, trying to harken back to the days of Gamergate and say, oh, this is just the same group of evil right-wing trolls that existed, you know, 4 years ago, 8 years ago, whatever. And so, again, this is exactly like that clip we have of her in the intro saying that Sweet Baby Inc. isn't forcing diversity, it's happening naturally. God, I can't believe she actually used that exact same line. That's really funny to look back at all these months later. So, what happened afterwards was, after Alyssa wrote this, it created massive backlash. I started covering some stuff about Alyssa, found out what a psychopath she was on Twitter. She came out and said you can't be racist against white people, said that racism is only done because it's structurally top-down, you know, white people are in power, therefore you can't be racist against the powers that be, essentially. Just proved to everybody that she was a terrible person. Often talked about how she was a former sex worker, all this other stuff. She's just a mentally unwell, non-serious person. She certainly should not be the senior editor at any sort of media outlet. But again, she jumped in on this and it created the shitstorm that we see today, you know? Her lawyer was something she got in as a prize in the show. No, her lawyer is a fanboy. Her lawyer is one of her biggest fanboys. I swear, is where she found him. And yes, SBI is Canadian. I believe they're based in Montreal also. Sunglasses indoors, body language, reputation from you, I trust. Book cover is often correct. Yeah. Yeah, no, unfortunately, like we talked about with the community manager over at Godot, the Godot engine, there is just so much to be said when it comes to the pronouns in the bio, the flags in the bio. It's like, look, I know that there are normal people out there. There's normal gay people, normal LGBT people, people who just want to live their life and go, okay, well, I'm a dude. I want to marry a dude and buy a couple little small dogs and have matching outfits for the dogs and just go for walks on Saturdays when other people have to deal with their kids. Look, I get it. There's people that live all different walks of life. And you don't have to agree with everything they do to accept the fact that people are all different. But it's always the people that seem to virtue signal the hardest that have these agendas that they're pushing that are some of the most vapid, narcissistic, obnoxious people on the planet, whether it stems from unhappiness, from depression, from self-loathing, whether it's they weren't accepted by their parents, or they feel like an outcast, or they wanted to make themselves feel like an outcast because then they could have the victim mentality where, it's me against the world and that makes me a better person. I don't know. I don't know what it all stems from necessarily. Everybody's different. We all have our different reasons for the way that we all act. But it all tends to cycle into the same personality traits, the same type of people that all do the same shit, Yeah, a lot of DEI comes from Canada. There's a fair amount of it that's been, you got to understand, America, obviously, the Americas, North America as a whole, not South America, but like Canada and America combined for a lot of the DEI crap. A lot of it's in the UK. There's a lot. Black Girl Gamers, probably second biggest DEI consulting company for video games. Black Girl Gamers are in the UK. There's a few of those that are in the UK. The UK has actually, unfortunately, taken a lot of American left-wing ideology and ran with it. I mean, America's to blame for it, but unfortunately, UK has done a great job adopting it. Games also, according to her, you were fake Japanese and a Caucasian. Yes, Mari is 100% a Caucasian man. No question there. 1,000%. And yeah, of course, the French with Ubisoft, of course. Yeah. No, I mean, there's no Western company. And look, okay, everyone's like, look, Poland is so Poland-based. Oh my gosh, they're so great. Okay, what the hell happened with CD Projekt Red? As we've talked about before, CD Projekt Red, 4 years ago, started their own girls in gaming, mentorship program. So, again, unless you're a man that identifies as a woman, you're excluded. Congratulations. Yeah, it's not just France, not just the UK, not just America, not just Canada. There's so much of it. Well, okay, but H. Brown, the thing is, so many people forget. Think about it this way. We talk often about like Marxists, cultural Marxism, communism, whatever you want to call it. Again, I know that there's different variations of it, and they all have different meanings. So I don't want to speak like too broadly and paint too broad of a stroke. But when you boil it all down to it, like the cultural Marxism aspect of it is if you can convince society that everything that came before was evil and has to be uprooted and replaced, then you can convince them that nothing happened before and everything is we're starting now from scratch. Everything's fresh. We're year one, ground zero, and we're just going to create history from this point on. And that's how you get rid of history. That's how you forget about the past. You erase it. You say it was all bad. We don't want to talk about the past. We don't want to talk about history. We just want to recreate the world in the image that we want. And that's where we are today. That's what we literally see with so many of these activists. It's not just gaming. Like I say again, gaming is like the last bulwark, the last, stronghold, if you will, against it. Because again, the schools have been captured, the governments have been captured, the institutions have been captured, the corporations have been captured. At this point, it really just comes down to entertainment. If you can say, look, I don't want this crap in my entertainment, you can begin to push back against that with your wallets, and then everything else that's been pushing it towards the entertainment will say, wait a second, why isn't this working anymore? Well, because you can't force people to buy a bad video game. You can't force them to go to the movies and watch a shitty movie. You can't force anybody to do those things because those are the things that we still have free will and our own, free choice to make on those topics. So, yeah, Blu-ray, I feel the same way about that because of the fact that A lot of people look at studios that used to be great, that used to make good games. I mean, look, Weta Workshops, the same Weta Workshops from 20 years ago that did the sets and the armor for Lord of the Rings trilogy is the same Weta Workshops working on Rings of Power, and everything looks terrible. The difference is 20 years apart, you've got an entirely different crop of people working at that company. You have no idea if any of the original Weta Workshops people are still there. And if they are, who are their understudies? Who are the people that they're mentoring? Who are the people that they're teaching and hiring, you know? Hey, Hunter, is it poppin'? I don't know. Most of my views are on Twitter, and I honestly believe most of those are like bots because nobody ever talks on Twitter. Then again, the chat feature on Twitter is like asininely, like terribly bad, so. Yeah, Kira, I've talked about that before because as much as I can give credit where credit is due with Game Science and China for putting out games like Black Myth Wukong, it is a fact that China is the largest supporter of the funding for DEI initiatives in the West. So it serves them well that the West is going into social decline while they are still maintaining their own, we'll say, you know, ethics and standards, whereas the rest of us are just like falling behind, you know? Is it like double? I don't know. I'm not even being like cool about it, Hunter. I just don't know, to be honest. I don't know what the exact numbers are. I can never trust them, to be honest. Let's see here. The Slacktivist that won't win. How's work going, Hunter? How are you doing, bud? I was just thinking about you earlier. I was figuring I should probably message you on Discord, see how things are going. The only game you bought from CDPR is what, The Witcher? Oh, Cyberpunk. Okay. You know, I bought The Witcher 3 twice. I bought it for my Xbox back in the day when I was still using my Xbox before my kids stole it. I shouldn't say stole it. I don't have room on my desk for my Xbox anymore, so I let them have it. Of course, you know, I bought it again for PC, and I played it for like a couple hours, and it runs pretty well on PC. Mouse and keyboard's kind of weird for The Witcher 3. But yeah, I think that's the only CD Projekt Red game that I've ever purchased. I never really cared about Cyberpunk. I just never really thought it looked interesting. Not my cup of tea. As far as shooters go, it's not something that I was really that interested in. With you being Tencent forcing them to do the DEI crap, yeah, honestly, I think that there is a lot to that. CCP funds Antifa too. I 100% believe it. No question there. Korea. So here's the thing. Korea, I don't know if they have any involvement in the DEI stuff, and I don't think South Korea has a vested interest in seeing the West, let's say, fall into any sort of decline, given the fact that we are allies with South Korea. I think South Korea, based on what we've seen come out of their studios, is by far probably the most based as far as developers goes. But again, I don't know how long that'll last. I don't know if they start buying up or buying into like the ESG money, if there's still ESG money to be had, how long that'll take. I don't know. I know, dude, Hunter, you 100%ed both those games, and I can't believe it. Did I see the Tim Walz CCP memo? I did not. Oh God, I forgot that they're going to do the debate tomorrow. I'm so not watching that. I'm not a huge like JD Vance guy. YouTube doesn't like talking about this. Yeah, I know. Oh, the worst that they can do to the stream is demonetize it. I don't care. It's whatever. Yeah, so honestly, I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful that Korea doesn't buy into, again, the DEI crap. I'm hoping Japan, because Japan does have some elements of it we've seen, at least as far as like their American companies like Nintendo of America and stuff. And again, things that we've seen them like, again, cater on or cave on like the ESRB ratings and stuff to get a less mature game in the hands of like a broader audience. So again, censoring their games to fit our standards over here. Someone fun that Walls is funded by the CCP. Dude, let me go find that real quick. Hang on. Let me give my brain a second to recharge. I don't know if you guys can tell, but I'm running out of brain power. It's starting to fade really bad. Let me see here. Where are you at, Blu-ray? Oh crap, you don't go by Blu-ray on Twitter. You are, Hey, Blu-ray, can you just send it to me? What is your username on Twitter? Hang on a second. Oh, Librium, that's right. Okay, I'm just gonna go to your profile. Ooh, that's crazy. It's from Kyle Becker, right? Okay. This is nuts. Hang on. You thought it was long gone? Nah, no, it's there. It's just intermittent. It comes and goes. South Korea exports K-pop, which ugly people in the West are desperate to uglify until they let up on that. I won't buy into anyone saying Korea is trying to subvert anything. Kami paid illegal immigrants, but Westerners can't tell them. So you're talking about like Yu Hirayama, that Japanese historian that's part of the Communist Party then, right? That was a very interesting bit of digging to do. That was a very that was a fun little dive. I can't take credit for all of it because there was obviously other people who did work on that too, but it was very interesting. Oh my god, I'm so sorry, guys. Oh, these pop-ups. I'm just gonna hide all of them before the next stream. But do remember, guys, I'm gonna go back before the stream's over. Remind you guys, we are on a new month for the giveaway through Instant Gaming. I guess they're gonna, I thought it was only for 2 months. I guess they're gonna keep doing this giveaway. So as long as I'm a affiliate partner, whatever they want to call it with them, we're gonna do giveaways each month, and all you gotta do is make an account to enter. So last person got their key, it looks like, and then the newest giveaway is going, so make sure you enter that. The link is down below in the description. Oh, dude, it's awesome. They don't have like as many games as I think. What's the keys site? It's cdkeys.com or whatever. But still, it's they do some great deals. Hell of a deal. You don't know who? Are we talking about Tim Walls? Hey, Black Cat, I just saw your super chat. Did that not pop up and I missed it, or maybe I'm just ahead? I don't know. Either way, thanks for the 5, Black Cat. I'm going to read that real quick. Stellar Blade gaslit us for months and released a censored game. How do we end up parsing a company that's lied its ass off to sell copies? It hurts us. That is true. That is true. And again, I don't know. I feel like so much of that, knowing what we know now from those dudes that talked about Dragon Quest, given the fact that a lot of it is because of ESRB rating boards, that they have to censor certain things for Western audiences. But the thing I would say about that kind of makes me less... I mean, it makes me a little more suspicious with Stellar Blade is the fact that Stellar Blade's a mature rated game already. So they had already accepted the fact that it was going to be for a mature audience, you know? Oh, Kira, 100%. I didn't think about that until I watched, I think it was Smash JT that did a video today talking about the Dragon Quest thing. And I never thought about how ESRB would tie into all the DEI activism. That is very weird. Like, if we want to talk about a slippery slope, people using ESRB ratings to keep games out of the hands of a larger audience by basing it on like your ESG score or your DEI rating or whatever, absolutely like mind-boggling, right? Oh yeah, dude, if you're gonna pre-order it, it'll be cheaper through Instant Gaming, and just go through the link that I've got, and that'll put like, I don't know, if it's like a $50 game, it might put like $1 in my pocket. But you know, every little bit adds up. And then what's cool about Instant Gaming is I get to actually like bank whatever I make, because you have to get like $10 to actually cash out. So I can just save that money and then put it towards like a game. Like, let's say we're going to stream a game here on the channel. It saves me having to go out and purchase it out of pocket. So that's pretty cool. So yeah, every little bit that you guys purchase through Instant Gaming keeps me from having to like spend $60 on a game to stream like 3 times and then get around 3 years later finishing. So it's massively appreciated. Companies be companies, and we know Sony has rules like Xbox to censor stuff and stay quiet. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, unfortunately, Amari, they just don't seem to care. So many people, especially Western people, are inclined to like crap all over everyone's legacy. Dude, Kira, it sounds like it could be like a conspiracy theory kind of thing, but honestly, we've seen crazier things. All right, so kind of breaking topic. We'll go switch it up a little bit and then we'll end things here. It's ironic because I did have a couple political things I wanted to get into, but we'll maybe have time for those. Oh no, so Richie, here's the thing about the U-Boat game. I got the U-Boat game for free. Keymailer, which sends keys out to people that stream on Twitch or YouTube or whatever, sent me out a copy of the game, a Steam key for the game. But there's like this level of commitment you give them that you'll play the game at some point and cover it for your channel. And so I told them, yeah, this is a game I'll totally play, 100%. So they sent me a key. Cool, awesome. Well, then I get this email that I was coming up on the deadline to make content for the game. And what happens is if you don't play the game or make a video about the game at some point, then it just affects whether or not people want to give you keys in the future. So that's why Saturday night, I'm like, oh crap, well, I can't stream Friday night because I have a kid doing a sleepover for my kids. Saturday night, we'll play the game. That's a day within the deadline. It gets it done. I play the game. I can thank Keymailer for sending it. All this stuff, great. Well, Saturday night, I was having a horrible stomach night. Having Crohn's disease, I don't usually have bad nights because I'm on medication every other month. Do like a once a month injection. But something was messed up in my stomach. I was in so much pain Saturday night, I couldn't even think straight. And so I was like, okay, fine. I still have one more day. We'll stream it Sunday night. I look on Sunday night, and it's already past the deadline. So, yeah. But that was the thing, Richie, is I was supposed to cover it because if you don't, it doesn't look good if you don't create content. And I guess it had like a deadline or something. I don't know. So, yeah. The body type A, body type B thing is so asinine. And what's crazy about it is people who want to gaslight you and say, what's the big deal? It's still a feminine body versus a masculine body. Okay, if that's the case, why can't we just call it male and female? Why do we have to divide it up where you can't have those, again, the gendered terminology? Why does it have to be option A, option B, option 1, option 2, you know? Yeah, Kira, I don't know. It must have been. I felt bad. I was like, I was legitimately going to do it. I just didn't realize that the deadline was creeping up on me. And it's like, well, I guess I'm not going to accept, keys or whatever, or have them send me keys for games if I'm going to be on like this tight. Like, I only stream a couple times a week. And I only do one game stream once a week. Although I am going to start, once we get through the next couple weeks and I can kind of have life settle down, guys, I am going to do indie spotlight streams where we'll like do like a Wednesday night or a Sunday night or something, and I'll stream an indie game and give like the indie developers kind of like some exposure. I think that'd be a really positive thing to do for all the people saying, oh, you guys are just hateful grifters that don't play video games and don't care. No, I think we need to support indie developers a hell of a lot more, get these people some actual publicity and all that. Oh, dude, Brown, Oblivion, that's 100% correct. That's honestly the way it goes. It's not a big deal until it's a big deal.
Absolutely not. I like to be liked. Do I need to be liked? Absolutely not. I like to.
Dude, you're breaking my alerts. You gotta stop.
Absolutely not. I like to be liked. I enjoy being liked.
NS, man, you are insane.
I have to be liked.
Dude, thank you so much. You are a rock star, but you gotta stop, man. Someone's got to turn that off. You can't give any more. You're done. You're cut off. Felt cute. Decided to drop gifted. Hey, you know what, man? I'm glad you felt cute, but for real, you've already done enough, dude. Just chill. Don't let the finger hit that button ever again. Okay? Take a break. You're a minimalist now. Hell yeah, you're official now, Richie. All right, so let's take a look at this document so we can all go to bed here. All right. First of all, it says to the Honorable Alejandro Mayorkas. Well, that's kind of laughable, but okay. Dear Secretary Mayorkas, this is going to be a lot of like boring conversations, isn't it? During the 118th Congress, the Committee on Oversight and Accountability Committee has conducted a government-wide investigation on how federal agencies are addressing the infiltration and influence campaign to weaken and corrupt the United States undertaken by the Chinese Communist Party. This infiltration and influence tactic is one facet of a larger Cold War the CCP utilizes in its unrestricted warfare against America, which the CCP considers its main enemy. During its briefings with over 20 federal agencies in its investigation, I guess they're all listed down here. Hey, be nice. Don't be banning people. Dude, that would be so messed up. Somebody like gifts like 10, 20 memberships and they get banned instantly. That'd be so messed up. All right, let's not do that, okay? As much as I think it'd be funny, that'd be really not cool. The committee has learned of the emphasis the CCP has placed on influencing subnational government leaders, including state governors. Along those lines, the committee has recently received whistleblower disclosures informing the committee of serious concern among Department of Homeland Security personnel regarding a long-standing connection between the CCP and Minnesota Governor Timothy James Walz. Oof. Specifically, through whistleblower disclosures, the committee has learned of a non-classified Microsoft Teams group chat among DHS employees titled NST NFT Biweekly Sync that contains information about Governor Walz that is relevant to the committee's investigation. The committee has also learned that further relevant information regarding Governor Walz has been memorialized in both classified and unclassified documents in the control of DHS. The attached subpoena requires DHS to produce these documents and communications regarding Governor Walz's connection with the CCP. This subpoena is issued pursuant to Rule 11.2, blah, 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 of the rules of the House of Representatives and Rule 12G of the committee's rules. The committee's investigation of the CCP began long before Governor Walz was elevated to be the vice presidential candidate for Democratic presidential candidate Kamala Harris. And this is actually true. So I did a video, in my video, talking about Tencent and Ubisoft and the CCP and all this DEI stuff. I actually found a link to a page from the committee that's investigating all this stuff. And they were investigating this shit like a year or two ago. This committee's been around longer than this entire presidential election cycle has. Ban the generous guy, exactly. Yes, but you don't, that's like saying stop that man and then just pulling out a gun and wasting him. You don't, there are reasonable ways to stop somebody, okay? Reasonable ways to do it. Banning the generous guy is not the reasonable way to do it. Committee's investigation of the CCP began long before Governor Walz's blah, 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 blah. We seek to understand the extent of the CCP's infiltration and influence campaign and to identify legislative reforms to combat CCP political warfare targeting prominent Americans. So I'm gonna give an unpopular opinion, okay? And I'm pretty sure that I can explain it before you guys start like slamming me too hard. Yeah, CCP. Boy, Mari, you're gonna fit right in here. Holy crap. Oh man. So this is a tough situation. I fully recognize the threat posed by governments like the CCP, by political parties in governments like the CCP. At the same time, I always have to question when my own government, who I don't trust, is propping up foreign governments as our enemy, you know? If there's a way to explain that better than I have, I'm sure that somebody could do it for me. But like, it's not that I'm saying that, you know, enemies are not your enemies or that your government's only lying to you about who your enemies really are. It's more the thought that I have to be very careful who I just blindly feel like, okay, so for example, let's look at this whole Trump assassination thing, right? Unfortunately, Trump is like buying right in with the idea that it's Iran that wants him dead. Okay? And Iran might want him dead. The guy that was the pro-Ukrainian assassination attempt number 2, he even wrote in his book that he wanted Iran to take Trump out. So there's obviously this sentiment around that Iran might want Trump to no longer be here. But the fact that they're telling you it's Iran makes me suspicious. You know, there's just these things where I'm like, yes, I can recognize that the CCP likely wants to cause the downfall of Western governments. Sure. I hesitate anytime our own corrupt governments tell us that's your enemy over there, they're the ones to blame, go after them, you know, or greenlight a war with these people, or, you know, hopefully that makes sense. At the end of the USA, they want to take away your guns. Well, Rob, honestly, it would be really hard to take away the guns. Oh, Mari, I'm saying fit in, as in you will get along well here, if that makes sense. The merchant. Well, NS, in that respect, I would disagree with you there. Because, like I said earlier, I think that regardless of who gets elected, that we are going to have a pro-Israel president either way. Whether Kamala wants to play like both sides, like she's pro-Palestine and all this stuff. Look, guys, I'm on record saying I take no sides. I am sick and tired of people making excuses for either side, and I'm tired of seeing innocent people die. That being said, I don't think any of our money should be going to support conflicts around the world that we have no involvement in or should have no involvement in. So, yeah, deep state. Well, that is a thing. They've admitted to it. Hey, Rob, here's the thing. I live in a blue state. But the funny thing about Washington, as a blue state goes, is you guys hear about the crazies in Seattle. You hear about all the blue-haired freaks up in places like Everett and Bellevue and places where like a lot of these companies, like for example, ArenaNet is the name of the company that used to run Guild Wars, or still does, and that's the game that I used to play hours on. You know, there are so many of these big studios and game development companies, and there's a lot of these corporations that buy into the woke shit in Washington. But there are more people. There are more people in my state that are in generally just keep to themselves. They own guns. They have no problem protecting themselves. Excuse me. So going after people and trying to take away their weapons would never work, because the vast majority. Look, they say that what we have. There's like 300 million Americans, and there's more guns than that in this country, you know? I'm not close to Everett, but it's not, it's a few hours away. We'll say that. I'm not going to say which direction, obviously, for the need to not completely dox myself. But yeah, in Washington, I'm actually I'm in a good spot. I like where I am. Yeah, Washington's full of like 90s Democrats. You know, and a lot more people who are just middle of the road, want to be left alone. $500,000 Americans live in Israel. God, that's a lot. Actually, I was just up in Everett a few weeks ago for some work stuff. I had to go make a delivery. Oh yeah, no, the big cities. I would never live in the big cities. God, no. Yeah, honestly, it's the crazies in Seattle that give states like Washington a bad name. Like, for example, Moxie, who I was on her stream last Monday, she lives in the middle of nowhere in California, you know? So she's like, they got land, they've got guns and stuff, and it's like, you know, everyone's chill out there. It's like country. You go a couple hours south to like LA and stuff, and then you're like, you know, dealing with all the same crap you deal with in Seattle. So on Ruby Ridge, oh boy. I don't know, I'm starting to fade. They could easily take away the guns of the citizens for having the so-called 2-way thumpers. Oh, yeah. Well, there's that. You're not wrong there. All right, I'm gonna play. There's one more video. So, okay, I'm gonna play one more video because it's pretty hilarious. And we were talking about this earlier about I've never met people who are actually supportive of like Kamala Harris. So back like months ago, they did this White Dudes for Harris thing, which was incredibly cringe. They got Jeff Bridges, Mark Hamill, Mark Ruffalo, a whole bunch of other people to do this Zoom call where they have all these like soy-filled white guys as part of this White Dudes for Harris thing, right? The most cringe campaign you could ever launch. All right, Mario, I might hit you up for that. Yeah, definitely. Some people blame Amazon for Seattle's downfall. I mean, Seattle's always been kind of gross, let's be honest. Seattle was always pretty nasty. I've been to Moses Lake one time. Eastern Washington is very much blue collar, down to earth, Eastern Washington is like the South practically. It's a whole different state. Western Washington is completely opposite from Eastern Washington. It's insane. No, dude, you never heard about White Dudes for Harris? It was a legit thing. They did this Zoom call where all these dudes called in. It was incredibly cringe. I'm not even going to look up the videos for it. I was going to do like some YouTube shorts, like some parody stuff. Never got around to it, but it was pretty hilarious. So counter to that, contrasting from a couple months ago, this White Dudes for Harris thing. I don't know if you guys know who Savannah Hernandez is. She's an on-the-ground reporter. She works for like everybody. She's done some stuff for like, I think she did some reporting for the Publica before they shut down. She goes around and she does all these like in-person interviews and stuff. She's crazy. She goes in places I would never go. Like the woman's got balls of steel. So she went down, I don't know where she was at, but she says, in honor of Newsweek labeling hot girls the new, quote, right-wing obsession, I went to go ask all the hot girls who they're voting for this November. The results are pretty funny. I'm just going to play this for you.
Hot girls for Donald Trump! What the Hot girls for Donald Trump! Kamala.
I'm gonna vote for Trump. Trump all the way.
Hot girls for Donald Trump?
Yep. Yes. Hot girls for Donald Trump 2024. Let's do it. Trump. No new wars with Donald Trump. When Kamala Harris was president, if she was going to make this a better place, she would have done it.
Hot women for Trump? Oh, yes. Hot.
Now, the funny thing I find about this is a lot of people are finally catching on to the fact that she's been more or less in charge, or at least the functioning president, for the last 3 years. So this idea that if things were going to change, they could have changed at some point, I think is a very valid argument. I know some people are like, well, she wasn't president, but really, she was. Come on. Oh yeah, Kira, no. I'm not saying it's not cringe. I'm saying it's really funny, contrasting it with what we saw a couple months ago with the White Dudes for Harris thing. No, trust me, I would not advise, like my one single brother I have, or any of my kids in the future, to date women like this. But it is funny to contrast the two.
Women for Trump. Trump, 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 Trump.
And I'm a mom. I'm not with her. To be clear, I am not with her.
Meaning Kamala Harris.
100%.
Hot girls for Donald Trump?
Oh, for sure. That's right. Yes, girl. The tallies look bad. I don't know where to put it.
That's what she said. No, so it's just funny that, again, I talked about before, like when you see people out in public, or people you know, your family, your friends, and you try to figure out, like, where are all the Kamala Harris voters? Because if you look at the polls, you look at all this stuff, and everything has her ahead. Oh, she's ahead in the popular polls. She's ahead in, in the betting poll. Like, everything has her ahead in the betting market and all this stuff. And you go, how? How is it even possible? Her skin color has no effect on the stock market policies do. For real. Okay, Kira. And that might be true. That might be true. But it makes me wonder, like, okay, the entire Taylor Swift endorsing Kamala Harris thing allegedly had like a backfiring effect where people were like, well, I don't want to just have some celebrity telling me how to vote. I don't know that it made a difference one way or the other. But if women... And I don't mean to disrespect the women that are here. I'm talking about women that are just like, I'm just going to vote for whatever I think is popular because I want to look hot or cool or, whatever. If they will vote for whatever is popular, then Kamala would truly stand no chance. Because if they're just going to go with whatever is popular, Trump is far more popular than she is. Kamala is the most unliked vice president we've ever had. I mean, they did those polls back in 2021, 2022, before the election was even like really coming around. So I still cannot figure out how people are supposed to believe that she's ahead in the polls when she went from like the least popular vice president of all time, didn't receive a single delegate vote when she ran for president like in 2020, and yet here we are. Oh, NS, I know, dude. I'm one of those people, I get it. Ballot printers grow burr, Right, Kira? Oblivion, there is truth to that. And honestly, if I was going to fault the man for some of his stuff that happened, it's like, okay, Talk about 2020, the lockdowns. I don't blame Trump for the lockdowns. The governors of each state chose to lock down. Do I blame him for involving Fauci, pushing the shot? Sure. A lot of that stuff goes back to Trump. The fact that we sent out all those stimulus checks, he signed off on. But they shut down the country. So, you know, what can you do? Unfortunately, I look at Trump and go, there was a lot of good and there was definitely some bad. And again, at the time, I thought the bump stock ban was fine. And now I look back and go, yeah, I'm not a big fan of that. So, okay, but that's the thing here. But here's the funny part. The funniest part about it is I have actually had a woman on Twitter today that was one of these like big Democrat shill accounts, right? 95,000 Twitter followers, not a verified account. I have no idea who this person was or why she had such a big follower count, right? And she just kept calling Trump like horrible names, horrible things that they've alleged he's done but never been proven, right? So it's like, well, if you say that, you're basically defaming the guy because it's never been proven, never been convicted, whatever. And I'm like, okay, but hang on a second. We're talking about whether or not illegal citizens crossing the borders commit higher percentage of crime, or if we should have illegals here that are going to be committing crime, that kind of stuff. And she kept deflecting to Trump, and I'm like, we're not having a discussion. We're not having like a debate about actual policy or things that we can tangibly discuss. Everything is, yeah, well, Trump did this. Well, I'm not talking about Trump. I'm saying, should we have illegals pouring across our border if they're committing 40% of the violent crimes, or if 40% of them have a violent crime history or something? And unfortunately, this is what I've run into, is nobody has anything of substance to say, at least that's good, about Kamala. There's nothing there. There's no substance. There's nothing that they can point to say, she'll be good for this because of X, Y, or Z, you know? It's unfortunate, because I think we need more of that discussion, you know? Oh yeah, no, I mean, Oblivion, sure, there was stuff beforehand, but unfortunately, I kind of base it on the fact that by 2019, my wife and I, with the economy the way it was, price of gas, price of goods, price of homes, the money I was making at work, our ability to save money, pay off our debts, and we were working towards buying a house, was all going fantastic. The best we had ever been in that position. So, no, I can be sure that there are things that Trump screwed up. And like I said, I voted for him, and I held my nose in 2016 because I looked at him as the lesser of the two evils. But by 2019, my wife and I were doing really good compared to where we'd been 3, 4, 5 years previous. So, again, there are other factors, obviously. Yeah, Richie, here's the thing about Washington State that I hate. I don't have the option of going and voting in person. People like the quartering are out there going, vote early, go in there and vote early, vote early. It's like, my state is 100% mail-in voting. I don't have a choice. I have to send in my vote and hope that somebody counts it honestly. There is no way for me to go vote in person. So whatever happens to my ballot after I drop it off in the mail is gone, you know? What do you call someone that is mean to all the people that I dislike? Donald Trump. Yeah. Oh. But yeah, again, I mean, this is one of those things where it's like, I'm a firm believer, no perfect people, no perfect politician. In fact, most politicians suck on both sides. I'm not a fan of most of the options we've had. I look back and a few of the people I voted for, I shake my head and go, I shouldn't have voted. But, what happens if the ballot doesn't arrive in the mail? You can always request a new one, but unfortunately, you have to hope it gets there in time. You're just finding out about the mail-in ballots? Yeah, no, Washington State, you do not have the option to vote in person. We are mail-in ballot only. Yeah, well, and we've been a blue state for like 30, 40 years now. I've been living in Washington. I'm 38, been here since I was 4. So for 34 years, we have always had a Democrat governor. So, I mean, I'm not going to say that it's rigged. I'm not saying that. I'm not going to say that. GLR, who is that? Dude, people that were all like all in on Kennedy, I'm like, really? Okay, all right. New sign of voter ID is illegal. Elon tweeted it. No. No, John, it has always been. As long as I have been, let me see. It might have been around like 2010, but you've always been able to request a mail-in ballot. How long has Washington been mail-in only? It's been a long time. Yeah, so pre-1983, Washington legislature authorized permanent absentee ballots. Let me see here. Special elections were allowed to be conducted by mail ballot. 1991, Washington state absentee ballots for the first time. I don't know. But I used to think when I was younger that it was such a great thing that we didn't have to go in person to vote. It was like that lazy man's way out of, oh, I don't have to go stand in line for hours to go cast a vote. But it's been like now 4 elections. I mean, 18, 22, 20. It's been a lot of elections I've taken part in, and I feel like my vote has never counted. So, yeah. California's rigged. Yeah. Oh yeah, Kira. Not to mention, because of the ballot harvesting. Think about it. This because of ballot harvesting, with mail-in ballots, you don't have to physically get the person to leave their house to go vote. You go collect their ballot and you just drop it off. And there's so much room for tampering, for influencing, for filling it out for them, just having them sign it. I mean, there are stories I don't even get into on YouTube about people who have been coerced or bribed to vote a certain way. It's insane. You know, the same democracy would have immediately deemed this unconstitutional. Yeah. Well, the problem is we live in a democracy. It's supposed to be a republic, but we're here in our idiocracy, you know. Exactly, Kira, and that's the problem. So, all right, guys, I need to hit the hay because I got to get to work, and my wife is probably going to wake up in a second and go, why the hell are you still awake? So I'm going to leave it right there. But I just want to give special thank you, shout out to NS, as always, dude. You're a rock star. Black Cat, who super chatted 5, Mari and Intrinsic both super chatted 10. You guys are all fantastic. You guys have been so much fun. This has been a great conversation. We've covered a lot of ground. Had a few trolls, which is cool. They didn't want to stay in chat, which is unfortunate. But I am going to hit the hay. If anybody else who wanted to join the Discord didn't find the link yet, it's down in the description. I've also got all the links on the YouTube page and everything else on the website. So, oh, dude, NS, this was fantastic. This was a great stream. After taking a week off, it was really cool to come back and actually have a nice lively discussion. It's been a lot of fun. But yeah, I'm gonna hit the hay, guys. I need some sleep. Probably no video tomorrow since I'm not staying up and recording anything because I gotta get some rest. So I'll have some new stuff out tomorrow, and then I gotta decide. I don't know if we're doing indie spotlight streams yet. Not sure what we're doing yet as far as things go, but we will cross that bridge when we get there, I'll say. Hey, Mari, thanks for the super chat. You're too kind. And again, guys, go follow Mari. I've been trying to catch some of her game streams. I caught her playing chess one day, but I've been really busy, so go check her out. She's super sweet. Really, really cool gal. And again, thanks for being here, Mari. Appreciate it. Another one, exactly. I'll get that sound audio bite figured out.